with his personal toilet.
But sinks, toilets, and showers.
Elements in bathrooms.
10 times, 15 times.
Elements in bathrooms.
We're looking very strongly at sinks and showers.
Elements in bathrooms.
10 times, 15 times.
Elements in bathrooms.
What on earth is going on with Trump and toilets? Trump's White House toilet would be clogged. With documents that Donald Trump was flushing down the toilet. Is this the explanation?
Big massive dumps.
Elements in bathrooms.
10 times, 15
Trump
times.
is doing this with his personal toilet.
Elements in bathrooms.
And showers.
Big massive dumps.
Elements in bathrooms.
Duty. 10 times, 15 times. Not me,
Elements in bathrooms.
God bless the United States. Thank you very much.
Elements in bathrooms.
I'm worried about my espresso machine. I'm not.
That could be your headline.
It's not a joke.
No.
It's just I'm worried about my lathe.
Out there like
Just pillows.
Who broke into my computer? Well, the back end data just exploded. I'm talking about getting rid of the machine, melt them down and turn them into prison bars.
Pillows.
I'm not a lawyer. The lawyers are lawyers. The lawyers are lawyers. The lawyers are lawyers. Get rid of the machine. I'm talking about getting rid of the machine.
Just pillows.
Who did this attack? Who did this cyber attack? So you have, the good geeks, and they patch it up, and they fix it, and they put up better protection, virus protection. But here's what my attorney said. He said
Just pillow. They took the pillow phone. Do you frequently go to Hardee's? Is that a common place you go?
Okay, that's pretty funny, David.
No, it's not. I'm not.
That could be your headline. The machine. I said I would have bashed through them and went to find a drive-through.
It's really incredible, the branding around that.
I said, no, you're not getting my phone. I said, arrest me. I've done nothing wrong. He said, no, we're not going to arrest you. I said, well, you can do anything. You hack in, and you can get rid of the machine. I'm talking about getting rid of the machine.
I'm worried about my pillow.
No, Truth, that's the worst thing for you because your cervical nerves in your neck, I will send you some pillows.
I'm worried about my lathe.
I'm talking about getting rid of the machines.
Okay.
Melt them down and turn them into prison bars.
Just pillow. All right, thanks, Mike.
Good.
Take care.
Thank you.
Uh-oh. Mangoes?
My bag of mangoes.
Uh-oh. I love mangoes too.
9 cents. Okay. Now that we are up under a Biden's regime, my bag of mangoes now costs $11.99.
That seems like a pretty good deal. A bag of mangoes. Aren't mangoes like $3 each? That's it. I want what, $8 or $11. That sounds good.
The American people will lie. And highway robbery is what you're doing. Bring my mangoes back down. My bag of mangoes. My bag of mangoes.
Mangoes?
My bag of mangoes. Bring my mangoes back down. Raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of fruit. Bring my mangoes back down.
The Wisconsin crowd identified with the mangoes.
Disproportionately affected the American people. Those who want me to be healthy. Those who want me to be healthy. It's highway robbery is what you're doing. Don't raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of fruit.
Mangoes?
Then he went, Donald Trump, yeah, Donald Trump. I love Donald Trump, but no more drop box. The drop boxes are just so bad. No more drop boxes. Dickinson, Hologic, and Cephahide. That was about a guy named, a rhino named Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney. Real beauty. Had to give the American people their voice back by building something called Truth Essential. He voted against Kate's law, and he voted for Obama amnesty. You know, we've endorsed Dr. Oz. We've endorsed JP, right? JD Mandel, and he's doing great. I've had more investigations than Jesse James, Billy the Could. Some of the world's greatest cricket players, from Sachin Tendulkar to Virat Kohli. As the great religious teacher, Swami Vivekananda once said. I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges of the investigation, the beginnings of that investigation.
And God bless the United States. Thank you very much.
He was awarded the Bronze Star and the Combat Infantryman Badge for his service. We have to keep our country gay, but it's not, I mean, for some reason, it's just not great anymore. If you care about law and order, look, law and order. In normal times, roughly 40% of fresh vegetables and about 40% China. Nambia's health system is increasingly self-sufficient. This is not about virtue, cycling, and signing. And the great General and President Ulysses S. Grant, he's really come back a long way over the last 10 years, hasn't he?
We appreciate it very much, Tim Apple.
When they gaze upon Yosemite's towering sequoias, they delivered a swift and sweeping, you know that sweeping. It was swift and it was sweeping like nobody's ever seen anything happen. Units of plasma for plasma. Donate plasma. In the failing New York Times by an anonymous, really an anonymous, gutless coward. I may ask Marilyn Lockheed, the leading woman's business. No teacher should ever be allowed to teach transgender to our children without parental consent. No, nobody has to have parental consent. And we will totally oppose the Biden administration. This administration.
He made some statements, rough statements on Jewish. You heard them and you know them well.
They sacrifice every day for the furniture and future. Our army manned the airport. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do. This is the very definition of totalitarianism. Michigan gave us Motang. Gave us Motown, gave us the Mustang. Shifting production to Thailand and to Vietnam. Thailand and Vietnam. The biggest lie ever foisted upon the American people. Our embassies in Kenya and Tanzania, your campaign of terror, murder, mayhem will not be tolerated any longer. It will not be allowed to go forward. And let me begin by wishing you a beautiful, look, you remember this? Do you remember free health care for illegal, look. We inherit the legacy of, oh, you know it, right?
All right, welcome everybody. I was too entertained myself to get away from that. It is election night in America. I am so glad to have you here. This is an inflection point for the United States of America. The world is watching and the world is horrified. A guy who cannot speak might be the next senator from Georgia. A guy who was at the Trump riots might be the next governor of Pennsylvania. A quack doctor not even from Pennsylvania might be the next senator from Pennsylvania. And it only gets worse from there. I am so glad to have you with us. The first results are starting to come in. No controversial results so far, but we are going to catch everybody up. We are monitoring all the feeds. We have all of the election dashboards and results. We are not going to get ahead of ourselves like with what we see on the screen right now. We're not going to get ahead of ourselves with what we see on the screen. I'm not going to do it to you because we don't want later to have to cry. Okay? Everybody understand? So we're not going to get... Everybody just relax. It is just after 7:30 p.m. in the East and 4:30 p.m. in the West. We have had some, we might call them sporadic poll closures so far. I'll cry later, but for other reasons. Okay, please. And in 24 minutes at the top of the hour, at the stroke of 8 p.m., there's something a little weird here in my. Let me see if I can fix that. There we go. At the stroke of 8 p.m. in the East and 5 p.m. in the West, we are going to get a number of additional poll closures, but let's do an initial run through everything. Let me tell you what we have going here. You're going to be able to keep up with everything on this one stream. First of all, we are monitoring CNN. Secondly, we are monitoring Fox News, as they call it. We are also monitoring NBC. We are monitoring the CNN panel, which is really not bad. This is the gubernatorial element. As you can see, early results from Florida have Ron DeSantis well ahead. Not a surprise. We are expecting DeSantis to win. Early results from Georgia have Stacey Abrams ahead. Folks, trust me on this. It is extraordinarily early. Abrams is not favored to win. It's 16% of the vote. Let's vote. Let's hope. Let's do it all. But let's not get ahead of ourselves there. Okay, so those are interesting. We have the CNN Senate numbers. And when you look at those numbers, you see that the incumbent Maggie Hassan is fortunately ahead in New Hampshire. If Trainwreck Don Baldock were to win, I don't know. It wouldn't be good. It really wouldn't be good. Not a surprise. Young, very much ahead in Indiana, in the Senate. In Kentucky, Rand Paul is ahead. Some networks have already called it for Rand Paul, so that's essentially it. Tim Scott, not Tim Apple, Tim Scott has, it's been called in the Senate for South Carolina. He's an incumbent, not a surprise. In North Carolina, very, very, very important race. And again, folks, I don't want to get ourselves, we're getting city data early. We are getting city data early. Obviously, it would be an incredible result for Beasley to defeat Budd, okay? It's 60-40 right now, 33% of the vote in. This is heavily places like Asheville, okay? Asheville is 2/3 in. The county containing Charlotte is 50% in. Raleigh is 54% in, okay? Durham, all these places are heavily Democratic and they are heavily in. So I'm just telling you guys, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Long, long time to go. Okay. But North Carolina, very interesting. Senate in Georgia. You understand, right? Does everybody understand? You know when a pitcher is pitching a perfect game and it's the 8th inning, you don't go, wow, only one more inning to go until the perfect game. People understand what I'm saying, right? Okay, everybody sees what's on the screen. That's it. Okay, walk away. Turn around and walk away. And then sadly in Florida, listen, Marco Rubio was leading by quite a bit. And with 61% of the vote in, Rubio is up 9 over Congresswoman Val Demings. So we do what we can. We do what we can. With the House, it's hard to even look at specific races. Nothing from the 4th district. Oh, wait, hold on. 14th is green. Marjorie Taylor Greene just running away with it. Only 3% of the vote in, but Marjorie Taylor Greene running away with it. I don't even know that there are specific House races that we necessarily want to look at this point in time. Okay, so these are the CNN panels. We also have Decision Desk, and we've got Senate, House, and Governor. Actually, I should put Governor first. So we've got Governor, Senate, and House on Decision Desk. We have the New York Times ones as well. We're monitoring that. So we have all of it. All of it, and we will be monitoring all of these different networks. Extraordinarily important day, and that's why I'm so happy to have all of you here with us. Where to even start? Let's start with some super chats. David, sir, I was on my way to my local ballot drop box when I was accosted by a fax machine, an answering machine, and a vending machine. They stole my ballot and my wife, who's now up in the air. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. I can't even deal with that right now. David, I voted against the ballot measure in Utah. Didn't really understand too well what it was addressing. Do you know about it? I'm not up to speed on the ballot measures in Utah, I will admit. The Blah has just gifted 5 subscriptions via YouTube. I very much appreciate that. By the way, folks, I'm not even going to, we have too much going on to focus on this. We have a goal of getting to 1,500 website members and Twitch subscribers today. We're at almost 1,100. This is day 5. I think we potentially are going to be able to get there. Okay? Very important. I voted in Pennsylvania. Overall, pretty good. There were some Mastriano supporters canvassing outside. They didn't seem violent, but I'm not sure if that's legal. Depends how close they are. I voted for Matt Castelli in New York 21. Stefanik is so far right, she didn't even agree to a debate with Castelli. David, I need so badly to know your thoughts about DeSantis blocking the federal election monitors. Tristan, I have it bookmarked for tomorrow to talk about. I don't yet know the details. Swami Live says, I was going to vote, but the only names on my ballot were Swami Vive Kanundun and Suchin Tendulkar. I don't care for either.
Swami Vive Kamunand. Suchin Tendulkar.
Yeah, that's a tough situation. That's for damn sure. Folks, 18 minutes until the next poll closures. I can't wait, and I'm not going to wait, to thank S. Prez, who just gifted 100 subscriptions via Twitch. Also, welcome to Trish the Dish, Cameratacious, Ochanova, and Breezy, putting us at 1182. Super chats are coming in almost faster than I can keep up with them. Psycho Farm, crossing fingers on recreational cannabis in South Dakota. Tyler, when I voted in Maine, there were people gathering signatures for a voter ID referendum, wondering if others experienced this. Michael says, thanks for everything you and your team do. You guys are the voice of reason, logic, and sanity. Thank you, Michael. 2020, he had a red mirage. 2022 looks like maybe a blue mirage. We are simply watching the results. Watching the results. Is the Senate the most important race? Explain which is the most important and how it will affect us as a country. No, so there is no one most important. Let me break it down this way. And people in the chat, if I'm missing, if I'm ignoring kind of like the importance of these 3 different elements, House, Senate, and gubernatorial, the Senate is extremely important because without control of the Senate, Democrats are dead in the water about even debating things that Joe Biden and Democrats want to do. Disaster. Okay? Federal judges depend on the Senate. Supreme Court nominations depend on the Senate. That's the importance of the Senate. House of Representatives. House of Representatives has investigative powers. They almost certainly are going to start bogus investigations into Joe Biden, Hunter Biden. They may well impeach Joe Biden. They will obstruct anything Biden and the Senate want to do. And the House of Representatives combined with the Senate can wreak absolute havoc in the 2024 presidential election. Gubernatorial is important for 2 reasons. Number 1, much of what is done in the United States because of federalism is done at the state level. And so governors and secretaries of state, very important. In addition, we know they are going to try to steal 2024 if they don't win. And the way you do that is with governors and secretaries of state. So all of these are extraordinarily important. All of these are extraordinarily important for different reasons. Okay? I hope that I have made myself very clear. Thank you to I. Keebler as well as Waylon Smithay for the Twitch Prime subscriptions. Also, Tiny Sir Jen and Fun each just gifted 5 subscriptions, putting us at 1194. Folks, do not adjust your screens. These are real numbers. These are real numbers. I do have to thank, and we're not going to do a ton of time on this, we're going to have to run it in a different way because it's too explosive tonight, what's happening on the website. There are 14 people who just got memberships on my website. That puts us at 1208. Today is the last day for the code BIGVOTING22, and I can't thank you enough for being here. Let's continue with Super Chats. We are moments away from the 8 o'clock results, which are going to give us some sense of what's going on today. People saying I should also have an MSNBC live feed. Let me try to do that. I do what the people want. Okay. Let's see if we can get the MSNBC live feed here.
Test sort of for Republicans. This is the
Give me a
7th district.
moment to
Abigail
adjust
Spanberger,
the screen.
a Democrat,
Okay.
again elected in that 2018
Let me
wave.
duplicate.
Leslie Vega, Republican challenger.
Call
Now
this one
again, you're getting a lot of
MSNBC.
same-day vote here, so that is pushing that
Let me
Republican
add
number very
my
high.
MSNBC
This is a district, I'll just show you.
Scene.
It's a district that Joe Biden
Beautiful.
won by 6 points.
Okay, and then
So
let me just
Republicans,
adjust
it's
it.
a
We're
little
doing
bit
it on
more
the
of a
fly,
hurdle for
folks.
Republicans to get this one. You know, they feel like on a normal night they could get the second. They feel on a good night they could get the seventh. The night that they might have a bit of a wave going on.
Are people
nationally. But
preferring
again,
the
I caution
MSNBC
you,
feed?
that
I'm
number
glad
should
to
come
stick with it.
down,
Whatever people
both
want.
with early vote being added to the mix, and also if you just look at where the vote is coming in from so
Okay.
far, the biggest the place that has no
Very, very
votes
good.
yet.
Okay, so we're watching everything super, super closely. Let's look at a few more super chats. Okay, that one I did. This is a good question. Mark asks, thank you for your coverage, David. How important do you think elements of bathrooms are?
We're looking very strongly at sinks and showers. And you can do that other thing normally, all right? The third element of the bathroom.
Yep.
Elements of medical.
Yep. I don't think sinks, showers, and toilets will be super important today. Let me see if I can adjust this a little bit more. Because this is something about this is not looking right to me. There we go. This makes more sense. There we go. That's much better. Okay. Apologies, guys. Apologies. Continuing on, I'm concerned about your audience. Your poll had a huge number of votes saying Democrats win House and Senate. You're so balanced and realistic, yet somehow you can't make progressives see reality. I'm doing what I can. I'm doing what I can. This is a little glitchy. I don't love how this is kind of blinking. So that's weird. Let's see if I refresh it, if that goes away. I'm not thrilled with that. Okay. No, it's weird. We might have to get away from that. Northern Illinois was in line and a lady in front of me tried to vote even though she voted early. They asked if she wanted to do a provisional ballot, but she stormed out. I guess there isn't a problem after all. David, sir, I want to stress local elections are super important, school boards, etc. Of course they are. It's just a little bit out of the scope of what we can cover. If Republicans take the House, they will surely investigate David's nearly illegal discount codes. Absolutely, I'm ready. Are you not monitoring Truth Social? Yeah, I mean, maybe we should, just to keep an eye on what Trump says and does. I think Trump's already... Oh, should we do the voter fraud stuff? I guess we should. Trump and others are already calling it voter fraud. Here we go. Oh, God, what is this?
Maricopa County in particular, don't leave your line. Stay where you are. They say that the machines aren't working. They say that they're running out of paper in different locations throughout different states. There's a lot of bad things going on.
Over 54 countries have now been taken by the machines.
Stay online. Do not leave.
Online is a very New York City thing.
I know you don't want to be there as long as they're going to try and force you. They want to delay you out of voting, and you cannot let them delay you out of voting. So to the people of Arizona in particular, because that's the one that's come up right now, stay online. Don't leave.
Stay on the line and in it. Yeah, they're doing a lot of this stuff. They're focused in very, very strongly on Arizona. Here's Charlie Kirk saying, if Blake Masters loses, it will be criminal.
I hope, Steve. I think Kerry Lake's going to be just fine. I think Blake is in the fight for his life. But I'm telling you right now, if Blake Masters loses by 5,000 or 10,000 votes, it'll be because of the voter suppression by design, because of Bill Gates and Stephen Richards. So
can you imagine?
I hope those people at the Maricopa County Recorder's Office, I hope they have some explanation. This is stuff.
Isn't Maricopa County run by Republicans? We're going to look into that for tomorrow. Here's Brett Baer with a little bit of, it's a little bit strange what's going on there.
We kind of knew that this election was going to happen. You know, I mean,
right. Oh, you mean maybe we've been getting ready for it for a while?
How about we fix the machines? I mean, why is this happening? Can we get our head around? There are going to be problems all over the country, some problems, but for it to happen here, for it to happen now in this way is kind of strange.
So,
all right. And here's Charlie Kirk. 2-hour wait minimum at most polling places in Maricopa. Democrats running elections here knew it would happen. Traffic jam by design. Don't let them do 2020 again. Wait in line and vote. I'm pretty sure Republicans run Maricopa County, but we're going to have all of the answers. We're going to have all of the answers by tomorrow. Don't fret for even a moment. We have 9 minutes to go until we have some very significant poll closings, which will allow us significant insight into the results. I'd like to check in with Fox and Newsmax to see how they're reacting. Hello to Clay and Sam who are watching tonight. Yeah, I mean, let's just take a quick look at what's happening on Fox News. Oh, Maria Bartiromo, dear God.
2016, late in the night. You made a lot of money. You made a lot of money. So quickly, Maria, does the market like divided government?
The market does like divided government, and that's what we're likely to see if...
Idiotic analysis. Look at the history. Every economic indicator is stronger under a Democratic president. The correlation to Senate and House has not been established. These people are just feeding pablum to their low information audience. I hate to tell you. David Sir, just want to say you're the hugest Politico I follow, huger than China, but they're losers, very bad people, very bad. Although I did win. You saw me say China. Keep it up, my friend. Thank you, Discman. The only thing I agree with Republicans is the crime rate. Are Democrats going to get tougher on crime? Other than that, the right is crazy. Well, Todd, explain exactly what you mean. Because for all the talk about New York, Oklahoma has a higher violent and property crime rate than New York State. Oklahoma City has a higher violent and property crime rate than New York City. So what exactly are you talking about, Todd? I want to hear specifically, what exactly are you talking about? I want to say thank you to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 people who just signed up for memberships on my website, putting us at 1222. Folks, this is the start of maybe the most insane 2-year political period we will have seen during my career. We do need to build support for the left-wing media ecosystem. I want to say thanks to Kinjman, Straight Man, Renounce for the Twitch Prime subscriptions. And yes, if you go to joinpacman.com, you can use the code BIGVOTING22. You get a discount. We fill this bar up to 1,500, and it's going to be a bonkers evening. A bonkers evening. Let's listen to just one voicemail, and see what is on people's minds today.
Hey, David. For the first time ever in my voting life, I'm 69 years old, so that's a lot of elections. I voted early.
Beautiful.
Okay. And good news, I had to stand in line for a long time to vote early. People are voting early,
okay,
which is good. So it's, but usually most of the people who vote early are Democrats.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the case this time around, but we're, of course, going to keep an eye on it. We do have a voicemail from Whitney, and I can't think of a more important person to hear from on such an important day. Oh, it's just background noise. All right, well, too bad. I think Whitney tried to call in, and unfortunately, we just got background noise, okay? That's it. S. Prez has just dumped in another 100 Twitch subscriptions. And thanks to Dorky Von Munch, we are at 1,326, and the 8 p.m. polls haven't even closed. We have 5 minutes until the next series of polls close. Do not go anywhere, because we are about to get a really important picture of where tonight is going. Before that happens, let's just review where we are right now, starting with gubernatorial, okay? From the standpoint of gubernatorial, in Ohio, Mike DeWine has won. Actually, I should probably refresh this. I don't know why Ohio is blue, even though a Republican won. It's very, very strange. Something seems to have glitched out here. That is very weird. Well, that's a malfunction. Let's go elsewhere. And this is just way behind. So now we're getting some delays in some of the data, which is extraordinarily weird. Let's look at the New York Times. Okay, maybe that's going to help us. So looking at the Senate in the New York Times, we see that in Vermont, Peter Welch has won. In New Hampshire, Maggie Hassan is fortunately leading. In Kentucky, it's been called for Rand Paul. In South Carolina, it's been called for Tim Scott. Now, here's where it gets interesting. In North Carolina, with 42% of the vote in, Sherry Beasley is ahead of Ted Budd. This is a critical race. Absolutely critical race. In Georgia, just look at what's happening in Georgia, okay? Let's wait and see. In Ohio, very early, remember that the polling favors J.P. Mandel, J.D. Vance in Ohio. Very early. Small lead for Tim Ryan. And in Florida, Marco Rubio is significantly ahead. It's almost over in Florida. Would be almost impossible for Val Demings to catch up, okay? And we are about to get extremely important poll closures in just a moment. Other super chats are coming in. Thanks to we already did the blah. Live in Arkansas. The line has been over an hour for several hours. Turnout is insane. Interesting. I'm in Maricopa County, says Quimby. Dropped off our votes at the City Hall police station drop box. No problems. Sick of Arizona being the center of all MAGA conspiracy. I know. It's horrifying. This country, we're going to lose its so-called freedom. Someone told me what woke means. I showed them the right definition, told me I was lying even with a link to it, and he gave me no link or citation. Yeah, it's bad out there, MK. I'm in Nevada. Error came up with a printing issue. Don't they needed paper as a receipt if they need recount? Can you explain how they track my vote? I don't know what's going on in Nevada specifically. I don't know exactly the system that they use. Thank you to Jeff in Boston, who has just gifted 10 subscriptions via Twitch. Also, thanks to Mushroom Gremlin and Manny, putting us at 1338. Bay Photo says, regardless of the outcome, I fear the tension and desire for violence is only getting worse. I fear the same thing. This is an interesting race on the screen. I've interviewed J.R. Majewski. He is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, very dangerous candidate. And I believe that he's actually polling quite well. Only 1% reporting Marcy Kaptur is up. Let's hope she wins. She is the incumbent. Would be horrible if Majewski wins that. Pennsylvania Supreme Court pulled a last-minute voter suppression game with mail-in ballots. Covered it on the show today. David, thank you. Your show brings me a sliver of sanity in the hellscape Florida has become. Sir, I had a small conversation on social media with the Eggman. Shalom to you both. Well, thank you. All right, 38 seconds until some major projections. Let's listen.
Just quickly, moving over here to the United States Senate, I just want to make the point because it's the very same dynamic.
This is a big deal. Okay, here we go.
The Democratic candidate, Tim Ryan, is out to an early lead here in the state of Ohio. But this is, again, a 100%, at least as of 2 minutes ago, 100% early vote. Yep. I'd rather be ahead than behind, but we're waiting. You see the middle part here that's gray, not filled in. That is Trump country in Ohio. Jake, we'll watch the races.
Everybody relax
as we move through the hour.
All right, John King, we are just moments away from the biggest round of poll closings this evening, including that critical Senate contest in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania that could go a long way toward deciding control of the U.S.
Here
Senate.
we go.
As of right now, CNN is projecting that Senator Marco Rubio, the Republican from Florida, will be reelected.
As expected.
Congresswoman Val Demings. In Alabama, CNN is projecting that Katie Britt will win her Senate seat, defeating her opponent. She is a former staffer for the retiring Republican Dick Shelby in that Alabama Senate seat, so that's a hold for Republicans. In Oklahoma, CNN is projecting that incumbent Senator James Lankford will win.
Yep.
In the special election in Oklahoma, CNN is projecting that Mark Wayne Mullen will be elected, defeating Kendra Horn. And then in Kentucky, CNN is projecting that incumbent Republican Senator Rand Paul.
All expected so far, folks. Everybody relax.
Race in Pennsylvania, CNN is declaring to be too early to call, and the big Senate race that's between Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman and TV's Dr. Mehmet Oz, too early to call as of right now. And in New Hampshire, a competitive race between incumbent Democratic Senator Maggie Hassan against retired General Don Bolduc. Again, too early to call. Let's look at the map in general right now. Right now, we have no projection in Connecticut, Illinois, Maryland, Missouri, and then, as I said, New Hampshire and Pennsylvania. Too early to call right now. The overall balance of power in the U.S. Senate, Democrats have 36 of the Senate seats. Republicans have 35.
All right. So more that is not known right now than is known. For people saying in the chat not looking good, everything so far is as expected. So, I mean, listen, I'll tell you when it's time to panic. Do you guys, how many of you were with me in November of 2020? Oh, hold on. Here's a projection. DeSantis. Okay, we knew about it. Fine. We knew about it. It's all expected. Remember when I said, I'll let you know when it's time to panic? And there was like an hour during which I was saying, now it's time to panic. But then I said, actually, it's not time to panic. And then Biden won. Okay. And I'm punching the mic and everything. Everything so far is as expected. Everything so far is as expected. There's no surprises here so far. Okay. So plenty of time. Plenty of time. What size dumps am I expecting? Asks Kyle. They're going to be huge. Took me less than 5 minutes to vote in East Boston today. Can't believe all the lines in red states. Why would anyone want to make it harder to vote? Well, if you're a Republican and you want to win, make it hard to vote in Democratic leaning areas. I mean, it's classic voter suppression. As you can see, the numbers in Georgia are tightening exactly as expected. I said it was way too early to glean anything about that race. Kemp was leading handily in the polling. We're at 31% reporting. A race that we're going to watch. Okay? Sir, I've moved from the pit that is Florida and I'm watching you in southern England, says Charissa. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you very much. The Good Liars have a new video with a woman who admitted to voting for Trump twice in 2020. Oh, let's find that. Good Liars Twitter. Let's see. Ah, yes, here it is. Oh, check this out. This is unbelievable. These people are truly unbelievable.
You ever seen any voter fraud?
Yeah, me. I did it.
You committed voter fraud? What'd you do?
Voted twice for Trump.
Really?
4 years ago, yes.
Did you get in trouble for that?
Yeah, I'm still on probation for it.
Really?
Yeah. Now, if I voted for Hillary, I would have got a gold medal.
But you voted for Trump twice.
Yes, I did, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I learned the hard way not to do it.
But did you wear a mustache or anything?
No, I went to two different places. I went to a different place. A different time. I voted one time, like maybe a couple weeks later, try and vote at another place, someplace else.
I don't know. I'm having like a big crisis because I honestly thought it was like libs that were doing it.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting, huh? Very, very compelling stuff. There's a lady with upper management written all over her. That's for damn sure. That is for damn sure. Any interest in reviewing Shapiro's appearance on Lex Friedman podcast? Thank you for covering midterms. Destiny would never Obama. Which Shapiro? Ben Shapiro? I don't even know. Who was on there? Ben Shapiro, Lex Friedman. Is that what it was? Nah, I'm not super interested in that, to be totally honest. Thank you for everything you do as a public educator. I admire your efforts in educating our nation with empirical evidence and research-backed positions. Thank you. Marion, Iowa, a lot of young folks and females. Not getting my hopes up. Wouldn't it be nice if Grassley was retired? Happy 2-year anniversary. Discovered you election night 2020. Have been a member ever since. Thanks, industry. David, sir, today is my birthday. A nice birthday gift is for Walker, Oz, and Lake Toulouse. Also, let's see if you pronounce my name right. Rohane Hamilton. Rohane Hamilton. Geez, I don't know. David, how about checking in on Vaush's stream for a quick dual stream? Always good vibe. Yeah, I don't have any way of like getting a hold of him right now, I don't think. Always appreciate watching your patient coverage of elections, both in the 2020 general, like you said, but also in the primary, when you didn't pretend Bernie was in it when he wasn't. No, I'm not going to bamboozle you guys. That is something I'm not going to do. Thank you to the 9 people who just signed up on my website, putting us at 1347. S. Prez has just dumped in 100 subscriptions via, folks, look at where we are. Geostigma just gifted 5. Sidki and Jakala just signed up. We are at 1,454. Ladies and gentlemen, we may do something we have never, ever done before. Not defeat Herschel Walker, which hopefully we will do. But these are absolutely stunning, stunning numbers. I'm forced to believe there are too many delusional people to deal with. I'm going to move to a desolate island. Who's in? Many are saying that, Joey, but let's wait and see, okay? Tim says, Ohio viewer here, loved the show, encouraged everyone I saw today on my college campus to vote, told everyone where they can find their polling place. Seeing Tim Ryan leading right now brings me some joy. It's very, very early, folks. Very, very early. David, why don't people like Bill Gates, Soros, etc. sue Tucker, Charlie Kirk, and others for defamation? Seems like an easy win. It's tough to win defamation cases. Very tough. Check out my interview with the plaintiff's lawyer in the Alex Jones case, Mark Bankston, to understand why. At a Lindsey Cross event in Florida, at least we'll have one win. Honestly, bummed out about all of it, hoping for a change of pace by 24. I'm with you, Caitlin. David, they're saying my home county, Miami-Dade, might go red. What are your thoughts? We'll get the data. We will get the data as it comes in. How are you? Don't forget to hydrate. Ah, yes, I have my water here. Beautiful water. Oh, God, what is that? That's horrible. No, it's beautiful, beautiful water. Okay, let's take a look at the latest numbers, okay, because I do want to get a little bit of an update. This is the CNN panel starting with governors. In Texas, it is very early. 9% of the vote in, overwhelmingly from Dallas, Texas. It would be beautiful if Beto could win. It's very early. I will tell you when we can start to have some confidence in that. Not yet. Florida has been called for Ron DeSantis reelected. Georgia, extremely early numbers. Stacey Abrams is plus about 2.5. Super early. Way too early. Okay? Don't make anything of it quite yet. South Carolina, McMaster up quite a bit, but it is still early. Pennsylvania, we are all watching it. With only 3% of the vote in, folks, it's really early. It's Shapiro plus 78. Do not take those numbers to the bank. They are beautiful numbers, but we're talking about 3%. It's all Pittsburgh. Pennsylvania is going to be long. It's going to be wide. Okay? Let's wait on that one. But it is an interesting early result. Ohio has been called for Mike DeWine, the incumbent. No surprise. We were expecting that. And then we are watching the gubernatorial race in New Hampshire, which is very, very close. Very, very close. Okay? That is gubernatorial. Going now to the Senate. In the Senate, we are starting to get some interesting numbers. Let's go to the most important and interesting races immediately. In the state of Florida, Marco Rubio has won re-election. It's over. Okay, that's it. We expected Rubio to win. He was very far ahead in the polls. Georgia is of extraordinary interest. Right now, we have 36% of the vote in. I'm not going to ignore the fact that Raphael Warnock is plus 10 over Herschel Walker, who cannot even speak. Can't speak, can't explain his positions on any issue. It's early. As you can see, voting concentrated in Augusta, Atlanta, Columbus, and Savannah. The city vote expected to go to Raphael Warnock. Okay? So we're taking it easy there. Very interesting race in North Carolina. Okay? Half the vote is in. The Democrat Beasley is plus 10. Okay? Very, very important. Oh, that's a good idea. So let's compare So this is actually very interesting. Kemp has 719,000 votes so far in Georgia. And with the same 37%, Walker has only 650,000 votes. So among the first 37%, there appear to be 70,000 people who voted for Kemp but not Walker. That's a good sign for Raphael Warnock. It's just a data point at 8:11 p.m. in the East. It's just a data point. Okay? As I mentioned, it would be amazing if Ted Budd could be defeated. Half the vote is in. He's losing by 10. That's a datum. A datum. Okay? Important. In Ohio, it is only 23% of the vote. It over-represents early and mail-in voting. Okay? Ryan plus 15. That it's not going to stay that way. It is not going to stay that way. But we are watching it. And then, of course, in Pennsylvania, so early, these are flushable numbers. These aren't going to tell us anything. So early, 5% of the vote in. It's Pittsburgh, Philly, and Harrisburg, okay? Folks, just, it's 8-12, okay? Fetterman plus 71. I'll say it out loud, but it's just so early that it is not worth getting all riled up about. We know that Tim Scott has already won re-election in South Carolina. Totally expected, not a huge deal. We know that Rand Paul has won re-election in Kentucky. Completely expected. In Indiana, Young is leading. He's the incumbent, expecting him to win there. In Missouri's kind of an interesting race. Bush Valentine is not a very good Democratic candidate, and she is down significantly. But it is very, very early. Almost none of the vote has been counted. In Kansas, Moran is the incumbent, expected to win. This isn't a shock. What you have to understand when you look at a map and you see red, most of these races are not competitive, and they're not expected to make a difference. And then Oklahoma, Lankford already won re-election. Actually, do we have gubernatorial numbers in Oklahoma? I want to take a look at that. Super early. Kevin's Tit is the incumbent, and he is down a little bit. This is so early. It would be amazing if Hoffmeister could win. She's actually not bad at all. But this is just so early. Kevin's Tit expected to win there. And then, in the House, it's more of like a big picture. So far, Republicans have picked up 3 seats. That's really the number that matters. That's the important number, +3 for Republicans. Republicans are expected to take control of the House. Everything continues to point in that direction. So that's the lay of the land right now. The way I would put it right now is there are opportunities here. There are opportunities here for Democrats. Nothing yet. People are asking for Massachusetts. Nothing yet. But I assume Healy is easily going to win. Incumbent McKee in Rhode Island expected to hold very, very early. Not much of the vote in. We're getting our first vote dump from Michigan with only 2% reporting. Gretchen Whitmer, the incumbent, is +60, not 6. That's 60 over MAGA Tudor Dixon. MAGA Tudor Dixon. I'm not ready to call it yet. It's only 2% of the vote, but we are getting our first vote dumps there, which I am glad to see. And let's just briefly get updated numbers from Texas. With 16% of the vote in, Beto is still doing fine, but look at the map. It's Dallas and Austin. These are super blue areas, super blue areas. I don't want you making any assessments based on these data yet. Let's check in on Fox News and see what they're talking about. Let's make sure this is all good for you guys.
See where the vote comes in throughout the night. The 3 C's, guys, Cincinnati, Columbus, and Cleveland. I could go on for about 3 more hours, but my time is up because they told me to wrap 3 times. Back to you guys.
We'll be back to you shortly.
We'll be talking.
Oh, thanks, Bill. You're so whimsical. They tell you to rap and you just keep talking. You're so whimsical. Okay, let's reset as we anticipate more data. First and foremost, where are we on thanking incredible people? Jake, Thurchis, Chelsea, Smurfy, Taw, and Actual One have grabbed some memberships via Twitch Prime. Folks, let's get to 2,500 on Twitch. We're at 1974. I also want to say thank you to the 3 people, great people, who just grabbed memberships on my website. I want to, if you're new here, okay, it is of such critical importance that we set up independent media to be ready for these next 2 years. My only real request is make sure you're subscribed on our YouTube channel. It is completely free. That's the number of subscribers. It costs nothing. Hit the subscribe button. We believe 3/4 of the people watching right now aren't subscribers. That's like 7,000. We could get over these numbers instantly. We're going to be here for Trump's announcement next Tuesday. We're going to be here for the entire thing, the primary, all of it. Same thing applies if you are watching us on Twitch. It's just free, folks. It's just free to subscribe. Okay? Oh, look at that. Thank you. Very much appreciate that. We're going to watch all these numbers super closely. At some point, if the left wants to compete with the right when it comes to independent media, we're going to have to support some shows. I don't need you to support this show, although I would love it if you did. Okay? And the easiest way to do that is simply to go to joinpacman.com. I won't spend a lot of time on this. You hit the sign up button. We have the coupon code BIGVOTING22 available. Okay? BIGVOTING22. You type it in, you get a discount. If you want an even bigger discount, you use the coupon code OBAMNA.
Obama.
Okay, you type that in, discount's even bigger. This is, the right does it. The right, they support Charlie Kirk. They support all these different people. Free ways to support, paid ways to support. We appreciate all of it. People are dumping in super chats, which I'm going to get to. Thanks to Rockstar Farmer with a $50 super chat. Says, sir, do you know when the massive dumps are scheduled? 9 p.m. are the next big vote dumps, but they're continuing to come in. 12 minutes from now, bottom of the hour, we're going to check in about all of it. Okay, let me see if very quickly, I'm going to jump on my Discord real fast just to see if we can check in with some of the other great people that are covering the election today. And then we're going to have continued. Let me just see here. Let me check in with Varsh, Ian Varsh, and see where he's at. Let me check in with Destiny. And let me check in with Hassan. Okay, let's see who gets back to me first. I have sent messages to Ian Vosh, Stephen Kenneth Destiny Bennell II, and Hassan Piker. Okay? Let's see if any of them get back to me for a very quick check-in about these results and these data. Okay? Thank you very much. Other super chats. If you want to support progressive media, put your money where your mouth is and give Sam Cedar his panels back. Oh, our new studio is almost done. The panels are going to be ritualistically burned and done away with. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. One moment. Okay, Vosh wants to connect. Vosh wants to connect. Beautiful. Vosh Twitch. Is Vosh on Twitch? He's not even live. What's going on? Oh, he's on YouTube? Oh, he's banned. Oh, I can't even have him on then, right? Oh, God, hold on. Close. Wait, whoa. Am I not allowed to have him on because he's banned on Twitch? He's not banned. Let me just check. You aren't banned on Twitch, right? Oh, right. He's not banned. I was just looking at it. Okay. Vosh YouTube. Okay. All right. Good. So we're going to hear from Vosh momentarily. Thank you very much. Here's Vosh. Okay, hold on. Let's get everything set up correctly. Let me get all of my stuff here.
Howdy.
Is this Ian Vosh?
It is Ian Vosh, Koczynski, yes.
Welcome to the program, my friend.
Yes, it's been a good long while. How have you been?
Yeah, I've been well. What do you? I'm guessing you know people have been reporting to me that while your and my political views differ, we both agree that tonight it would be better if Republicans didn't win everything and send us off a cliff of dystopian authoritarianism and vote stealing and election stealing into 2024. Do I understand that correctly?
Yeah, it's a tough sell, but they just really haven't gotten me on board with the aforementioned totalitarian fascist agenda. It
Yeah,
just
I
hasn't
know.
rolled with me.
Any particular race you're looking at?
I think I'm just kind of blearily looking at the entire thing with my eyes kind of like fuzzing out. I think there are so many that I've looked at on off time that it's difficult to concentrate. I mean, probably Warnock feels like the most immediately gripping race, I guess.
Yeah, and we were just looking at the latest numbers there. It's Warnock +8, and like the lead is shrinking every time they count more vote. Every time there's more vote dumps, for lack of a better term. I think it'll end up being really close. I don't know who's going to win, but I think it's going to be way closer than these numbers.
Another goddamn runoff.
That's another concern, yeah, because of this Oliver guy. I mean, Warnock's above 50% for now, but we'll see if we can avoid that. How are you kind of thinking about the next 2 years? By the way, if people are just joining us, we are speaking with Vosh. I'm thinking of the next 2 years as most likely controlling the House and potentially some critical governors' houses. Republicans are going to set themselves up to try to get the next president to be a Republican, whether that candidate actually wins or not in 2024. Like, it seems that's fundamentally what this is about.
Yeah. Have you kept up at all with the Moore versus Harper upcoming Supreme Court decision?
To some degree, I have, yeah.
Yeah, I think my answer really depends on how that one goes. It
Yeah.
seems like they're going to validate the independent state legislator doctrine, which if they do, it feels like elections sort of become irrelevant, at least at a federal level. There are enough Republican state legislators that they could rework the rules internally to the point where between the Senate, House, and elector count, they could just kind of reliably make federal elections unwinnable for the Democrats. So I think most of my coverage at this point, I think, is sort of like a very, very like 1950s duck and cover propaganda. Like, what do you do if your country is descending into fascism? And trying to work on that mostly.
A lot of my viewers have been saying, should I leave the country if XYZ? And the first thing I explain to a lot of them is, it's actually pretty hard to go to most of the places you would probably want to move to. That's number one. But also there's this thing of like, okay, at a certain point, like I have friends in Arizona and they're horrified about the possibility that Kari Lake will win. They currently have embryos on ice. They're worried about reproductive rights, all these concerns. So it's sort of like, well, if Kari Lake wins, do you just bail and go to a blue state? But then that probably only makes the red states even more dystopian. So is the right move to stay and try to fix the red states? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is it seems like this is quickly becoming inconsequential, right? They've been doing gerrymandering for decades to the point where they have very effectively, like, despite being a minority of the country, maintained an adversarial, like, sometimes even a lead when it comes to electoral results. I don't know if there's actually any outcome difference between like staying in the state or moving to another state. I don't know if staying in a blue state will make you that much safer given a long enough time frame. I don't know.
Hold on. Let's talk about that for a second.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I do agree that on the one hand, there are certain things that it doesn't matter what state you're in. you're sort of subject to disasters that are potentially implemented federally. But for example, I don't know if you've ever looked at like HDI equivalencies in states where you just rank states by Human Development Index the way you might rank countries.
Yeah.
The top 15 or so states in the US by HDI, which is like a blended metric that includes life expectancy, and, all these different things, education, et cetera. The top 15 or so states in the US are like the European countries that you and I probably consider the better places to live in. On the other hand, if you go to Mississippi and Alabama, the states with the low HDIs are mostly like countries most of us would not consider great places to live. Like
Syria.
There's a really
Kuwait.
material difference between living in on average blue and red states that I think does make a difference to people's day-to-day lives.
Oh, no, I absolutely agree. For now.
Yeah.
I'm wondering to what extent that'll persist, especially in certain regards. So, like, for example, you and I are media guys,
Yes.
Now, I don't want to fearmonger or anything, but generally speaking, when federal control is gained by fascists, one of the first things they do is target opposition. And if you control, the House, the Senate, the presidency, and the court, it wouldn't be that difficult to crack out a couple of laws on like dissent, or I'd call it like the propagandistic, un-American, whatever. It's pretty easy to get the right people quickly when they have that power. Now, if you're like a regular Joe, like an average person in the United States, like you there's no reason you'd have a target over your head.
Yeah.
I think you should try to maximize your own well-being. I don't think it's fair, especially like, man, imagine like you set up to live in like Alabama in the vain hope that one day it flips blue or something, and
Right.
then you have a kid and that kid ends up being gay, and it's like, well, like so much human misery, I don't know if that's a good like long-term strategy.
No, I agree. And especially now, having a baby. I don't know if did you know I had a baby?
Yeah, and congratulations,
Thank you.
by the way.
Especially with that now, the idea of like sticking it out someplace that sucks and where like things would be worse for my kid because it sort of feels like the right thing to do. It's sort of like it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? We have these limited lifespans, and the idea of saying, well, I'm going to subject my kid to a horrible right-wing dystopia because I kind of like hope that it's better in 20 years. It's just a no. I don't know how else to say it.
It's pretty regionally biased too, right? If you already live in California and it's like, oh, well, why not move over to Utah to make it better? Well, fuck, why not move over to like Syria to make it better? Like,
Right.
technically a highly educated, relatively wealthy, progressive, American in like Bangladesh would probably have a pretty outsized effect in their local political, Yeah. So, but like, no, obviously we can't do that. We're not like liquids that fill a container or pour it into, we're going to live where we're comfortable. I'm more concerned with like in the long run, like how do we get our communities or as many Americans as possible, like how do you tell them like to knuckle down and get ready for what might be like a proper end to our democracy? Because a lot of them are going to survive it, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to have a great time during it,
No, absolutely, for sure. And in particular, with the confluence of what's happening here, which is it's the policy stuff, like the views on reproductive rights and non-discrimination and the rights of it's that, and then it's also like they don't really seem to have much of a problem with the candidate that gets fewer votes assuming power, and so it's not just issue oriented. Like at one point it was just about like, oh, education's better or worse here versus there, and increasingly now it's so much broader than that, and it comes down to just like, do you even generally believe that the will of the people should prevail? The answer is increasingly no, and I feel bad for people that are in a lot of these parts of the country.
Yeah, and yeah, it's really difficult because interpersonally and like politically, these environments can feel really different. I've been to the South enough to know that people who would probably vote to have me put in a camp for liking men would probably also, if I just hung out with them for a day, be really, really friendly, even if they knew that I was interested in men. So the experience of like the outsized political effects of these groups versus knowing them interpersonally, it can make it really difficult to know where a person should live to be safe. I don't know if there are any easy answers there. It's just unfortunate because it feels like we've kind of run out the clock on electoral viability when it comes to pushing back against this.
Without
The
a
Dems are
doubt.
just not as underhanded as the Republicans are.
Without a doubt. And you know, the entire Michelle Obama, like when they go low, we go high sort of thing. I think that there's two categories here where on the one side, there are absolutely tactics that I would never want to stoop to in order to win, even if you can justify the ends, which is you're preventing absolutely depraved, horrible people from taking power. And so, you know, certain types of dishonesty and lying, criminality, manipulating voting machines, you know, it's just, no, we just absolutely shouldn't do that. On the other hand, some of the stuff, like using slogans and framing that are, you know, not completely accurate, all this other stuff, it's like we absolutely need to be better. And they pour money into a lot of this stuff, and the left doesn't, and the left loses as a result.
Oh, yeah, it's the, you know, when things go down as bad as they're going to, Democrat abstemiousness is going to be one of those like historical tut-tut lessons people are learning about in the future, you know? Because this really makes like the social democrats in Weimar, it really gives them a run for their money, right? Republicans have been so open in so many ways, but like very clearly, like democracy means nothing to us. We will scrape every bit of power we can until we no longer need to scrape and it's just ours. They've been screaming that from the rooftops for a long time now. And I agree with you. There are limits to which you should not stoop for a variety of reasons, just like even from like a rule utilitarian perspective. But the Democrats are so far away from that line. Like there are so many things they could have done. No matter what reputation it would have earned them, if they brought out like sedition trials for people associated with Jan 6, the same way like or Lincoln ousted Confederate sympathetic like senators back when the Civil War began.
Mhm.
There are so many like hard lines that could have been taken that seem insane now, but fuck, 2 years from now when things really start rolling, they will seem like moderate responses compared to what it would have prevented.
Is there anything you specifically are doing as a result of the way things have gone since they, you know, tried to steal it in 2020 and then rioted on January 6th? Like, for example, I have lots of liberal friends that have either started to or increased their gun ownership by getting more guns or starting to get their first guns. People that have moved to different states. So, you know, whatever it is, like, are you doing anything differently?
I bought a lot of guns.
You
I
did?
own a lot of guns now. Yeah. And I was gifted some of them by my very conservative grandfather who doesn't know what I do either. So I have also strategically disarmed the opposition. You know, I keep my passport up to date. I think everyone should do the same. It's really difficult because like, I mean, you have to accept, like, none of us are revolutionaries. I certainly am not. The idea of like, oh yeah, if things get really bad, I'm going to fight back or whatever. Like, that's not really a realistic mindset. I think one of the strongest things that a person can do in a situation like this is to form strong community bonds. Because especially in deep liberal cities, the worst thing that could happen there is like occupation from right-wing militias. Like what we saw during BLM, there were those Patriot Prayer guys with the guns and the truck beds, and they would like go through the city. And the difference in terms of their ability to like occupy a liberal neighborhood with the liberal neighborhood being completely unarmed and not being completely unarmed, different worlds. And I'm kind of hoping that might maintain, like it might prevent civil instability from leading to like a lot of unnecessary death in some areas. If it comes to that, I don't know. It's really tough. Do you own guns, by the way?
You know, I don't talk about whether I own guns, interestingly.
That's fair.
Yeah. I don't know why it just like kind of, I don't know. I mean, I've said before, like my views on gun safety regulation are widely known by my audience. And I've also said the idea that like even knowing all of the statistics about firearms, the idea that only the right has guns is unappealing to me, but I just kind of like don't mention anything about my personal ownership or lack thereof.
No, that's good. Keep them guessing. It is an issue, right? Because people have always joked like, oh yeah, owning guns. What is that going to do against the military? Well, it's not the far right like prepper guys haven't been massing an arsenal to fight the military. They've been massing an arsenal to fight us.
Right.
The military, what they're hoping is it'll either side with them or remain neutral or to politically combative or too internally divided to really do anything. Meanwhile, if in a non-military situation, the right would just sweep the country with like no problems. A couple of far-right militias would be enough to single-handedly hold down cities with millions of left-leaning people.
Yep. No, without a doubt. And many of my liberal friends feel that way. And they're like, hey, listen, I want to have guns. I want to have to go through an extensive process to get them. I think everybody should have to go through that process, but I'm not going to cede that. And it's sort of similar to what you're saying. How late you streaming today?
I'm probably going to go to at least 8 tonight. I'm going to keep going for as long as there's any question about the results of these votes, which I imagine will take a couple of days in some races.
Yep.
I find that this is more of a cultural exercise than anything, because a lot of it is about direction, right? Like, what do you do after Dems lose to Reagan back in like 80 or something, right?
Yep.
Well, better luck next time. We might not get it next time. So I ask you, knowing things as they are, what's on the table, what have you been talking about? I mean, beyond the individual races, like when you look forward to the future, what do you see?
I see tonight, or this election, whenever the results are known, as a potential inflection point where there's the story that up until now has been going back to the civil rights era. The Republican Party has become increasingly cartoonish and extreme and divorced from policy. And, we go through the whole story where it's Gingrich in 94 and then Bush and then Obama sort of coalesces more overt racism and xenophobia, and then Trump, and then they tried to take it in 2020. The inflection point now was Biden in 2020 a permanent turning away from the cliff, and things will kind of slowly normalize a little bit where we get back in the direction of democracy? Or is this the inflection point where Republicans set themselves up to genuinely just steal an election in 24, and it's an inflection point in the completely opposite direction? I think it's potentially that significant of an inflection point.
I don't disagree with you. Well, whatever you end up doing, just remember, and I don't want to be negative or anything, but when things get really bad, people like you and I are literally the first they go after. So,
wow.
In case things get really bad,
I
can catch you in the international.
Part of me going through right now, re-upping and revalidating and renewing all of my Argentinian documents is in order to get my daughter citizenship. But I think it would be a good idea to be doing it regardless. I mean, why not? It's not like things are so great in Argentina. In fact, the economy is a total disaster, but it just seems like options are good.
Yeah, it's there's never been a better time to have dual citizenship.
Right. And nice listen, I mean, there's always Israel if it really came to it for me.
Yeah, I don't know if they'd let me on. I can't join you on that flight. But
That's fair. That's fair.
Anyone you can take. With how Netanyahu's going right now with the coalition government he's building, it could end up being just as bad.
Without a doubt.
I wish you safety. You and your child.
Thank you. Likewise. All right, we'll check in soon. Great catching up with you.
Take care.
All right, there he is, Ian Vosh, ladies and gentlemen, world famous Ian Vosh. Destiny said he's busy on a panel with Lauren Chen, Blair White, and Sean AJW, and I can join if I want. But that's a no for me. And then Hassan did not even write back. So I think we're too little at this point for Hassan. So that's what's going on. Okay, let's get reoriented here in terms of the numbers and reset. It is election night in America. I am so glad that you are here with me right now because we have so many important things to do. Where do I even start? Let's start with some of the results, and we will go first to gubernatorial. Important races here. Michigan is one we've been looking at closely. With 4% of the vote in, it's 2-1 Gretchen Whitmer over Magat Tudor Dixon. Good news very, very early. Okay? Whitmer is expected to win by about 10. Massachusetts, not really a shock, but Maura Healey ahead of Jeff Deal, roughly 2-1, will probably be called relatively soon. What about Pennsylvania? Pennsylvania is a critical race. This 9% of the vote, which is plus 70 for Josh Shapiro, is a lot of early votes and city votes. As you can see, Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, Philly. So Shapiro is expected to win by somewhere between 8 and 10, but it is very, very early. Michael says, I appreciate it when you refer to epistemology and media literacy. Can you spare 5 minutes and speak about one of them? Not tonight, Michael. I don't know what I would say in the abstract, but we have a white paper coming out about how to employ them in conversations with people very, very soon. It's going to be free. Okay. Georgia gubernatorial, as expected, Brian Kemp has taken the lead. That early data that had Stacey Abrams ahead, I said, be very skeptical of that. The polling is Kemp is probably going to win. So we are seeing that there. Super interesting that the incumbent governor in Oklahoma, Kevin's tit, is not ahead, but I do believe he will ultimately win. I think this reflects a lot of early and mail-in vote. And then, again, not surprising, the numbers have flipped to Greg Abbott, the incumbent Republican governor in Texas. Beto was losing. And I mean, listen, it would be a shock if Beto won. I hope he does. But that would really come as a shock. I guess we'll look at Illinois. Pritzker is ahead. He's the incumbent. He's expected to win. Not a big shock there. Not a big shock. But okay, that's gubernatorial. Let's now take a look at Senate races. Of course, one of the critical Senate races is Fetterman v. Oz. It is super early, but it's Fetterman plus 65 right now. We got to give this at least 2 more hours. It's so early. In Ohio, that's a really important race, Ryan v. Vance. J.D. Vance was projected to win. We have a third of the vote in, still overrepresenting early, mail-in, and city votes, and Tim Ryan is up 11. We're holding out hope, but it's an uphill battle. And then Georgia, it is tightening exactly as I said it would. In Georgia, Raphael Warnock is still ahead, but it's only 4.3. 47% of the vote is in, and we could not possibly be watching that any more closely. We are also really interested in the race in North Carolina. Beasley jumped out to an early lead. I don't believe that she was expected to win. And with 58% of the vote, she's holding on to a 4-point lead, but Bud may well be surging there. As you can see, Asheville, Durham, Raleigh, Charlotte, Wilmington, Fayetteville. These are cities in North Carolina. Early vote came from cities, and that helped Beasley. We don't know exactly where it is going to go. Alabama already called for Britt, as expected. No surprise there. Good news in New Hampshire. For a second, it looked like maybe Bolduc might have a shot, but Maggie Hassan, the incumbent, won. Not a big surprise. In Vermont, Welch has defeated, has not been called yet. Sorry, it's only 18% of the vote. I spoke too soon. Welch leading by 32, but still quite early. And then in the House is tougher because there's just so many, but the important number is Republicans have made 3 pickups so far. So we're going to continue watching all of that super closely. All right, if people will allow me, I want just a moment to get everything caught back up. If you're joining me, you have no idea who I am, that's fine. I'm David Pakman. I have a YouTube channel, podcast, Twitch stream. We're on nearly 200 radio and television stations. Almost everything we produce is free for everybody, okay? And there are so many free ways you can support the work that we're doing. If you are watching right now on YouTube, okay? If you're watching right now on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel. It's completely free. There's 13,000 people watching. Most of you are not subscribed. Look at these. You'll see it reflected right away. Okay. Also, please like the stream. We have 2,000 likes, but 56,000 different people have watched the stream today. 2,000, 56,000. Cost you nothing to like, costs you nothing to subscribe. Same thing applies if you were watching on Twitch. If you're watching on Twitch, make sure that you're following. And if you have, Amazon Prime. If you have Amazon Prime, you can use the Amazon Prime subscription to get a Twitch Prime subscription. It's free. You're just taking money from Jeff Bezos. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. If you want to do a little bit more, and I believe that at least some of us should, I would love for you to sign up on my website. Super easy. Joinpacman.com. You can use the coupon code OBAMNA and you get a huge discount. People have asked me, David, sir, are you planning a new coupon code depending on what the results are? And the answer is yes. If you're still with us 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hours from now, I'd better be sleeping 9 hours from now. Maybe my daughter has other plans, but I'd better be sleeping 9 hours from now. There will be something coming up later. But I now just super quickly want to say thanks to the people who have supported what we are doing already. And that includes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Folks, we might do it 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Well, this is crazy. 33 and 13 is 46. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at 1,509. We have never seen this happen before. We are going for 2,000, folks. Thanks to Microactive, M6, Zinzano, Tenacious Dust, Asparagus, Fish Naboo, Brett Pro, Coffee Catastrophe, The Show, Go Champer, and Jeff in Boston for the gift. 20 people signing up via Twitch. Actually, it's 2 more, 1531. And Sea Missile gifting 5. Folks, I can't even keep up and I'm not going to try. It's crazy what's happening, and we have a goal of getting to 2,000 new members in conjunction with today's stream. Let's get a few more super chats in before we come back for more results. Harrisburg, PA, me and my crew voted blue this morning. Congratulations, Adam. Nicely done. Sorry, David, my likes playlist is used for music. Please accept this instead. Welcome, Josh. Great to have you. Thanks to Daniel. Denver says my power came back on. I was watching the show in my plumbing truck for heat and cell phone charge. Definitely wasn't drinking beer as well. Denver's been around for a long time. So great to have you here, Denver. So great to have you. Really appreciate that. We are moments away from more results. 12 minutes until we get more results. The glitchiness on that feed is crazy. We'll get back to CNN in a moment. Do we want to hear briefly from Marco? Let's listen.
I was raised by parents that worked in hotels like this. Well, not like this. They had slot machines and stuff like that. But in Las Vegas, my dad was a banquet bartender in rooms like this. My mother was a maid. She worked at Kmart. They worked hard. And you know, their story is really very typical of the American story. Frankly, in any other nation in the world, I would probably be doing the same job. And there's nothing wrong with those jobs. But what makes this nation so special and unique is that it is the one place on earth where people who work those jobs, like the people working here now, can go on to do other things. But even if they can't, the one thing they can always do is give their kids the chance to do all the things they didn't. And I think this is an American story that people everywhere in the country would understand.
Marco Rubio, a big winner over Val Demings in Florida. A huge win.
Not a big deal. This was expected. Rubio was leading all along. He did win. He won easily. He won by more than expected. Could it be a sign about what is coming later tonight? I don't know. All we can do is wait and see. We have results in 11 minutes. We may get some more definition. The next polls are closing in 11 minutes, and it's going to be of absolutely critical importance. Arizona, does Arizona close at 9? Because now Arizona is 2 hours back because they don't change the clocks. Arizona may be closing at 9, and I'm very interested in getting some of those early Arizona numbers. We really want to see what's going on in Wisconsin with Mandela Barnes and Ron Johnson. That's going to be a very interesting race. We are moments away from getting some of that data, and that is of absolutely critical importance. Sir, my friend used coupon code OBAMNA to register. Someone came to take her away. Yeah, you got to be careful. Those coupon codes are extreme. Corinne says, thanks for streaming. For states like mine, Louisiana, what would it take for them to turn blue? With New Orleans and our governor being blue, is it possible? Anything is possible, Corinne. But I don't expect Louisiana to be blue anytime soon. So, oh, God. Someone who uses the name Fart God. I mean, come on, guys. David, I love the coverage. You avoid clickbait, sensationalism, and report. Thank you from Cater Tot. Thank you. Not a surprise Florida remains red, but I saw Miami-Dade County flipped red. We will look at that. Home from the pub at an unearthly hour on the UK. Can't really tell how things are going. Are the polls accurate or not? Too early to tell. Too early to tell, Sean. It's going to be a while. Just re-signed up for a membership through your beautiful website, sir. Tears in my eyes. Well, thank you, Chris. Florida elected a 25-year-old congressman. We will have time to look at that. We will. Thanks to 3 additional folks who just signed up on my website, putting us at 1548. Also, thanks to Jenilyn, Crowdbirth, Christopher Vods, Noodle Snakes, and Moist Kefta just gifted 5. That's 9, putting us at 1557. Let's listen to what's going on in Arizona.
And so we're seeing the Republican candidates who are expecting to really have their voters come out today, tweeting again and again, stay in line. Carrie Lake tweeting, stay in line, hold the line. They want as big of a turnout as they can today. Now, when these results start to drop, and we do not expect them until another 1 hour and 10 minutes, polls do close in 9 minutes now. When those results drop, we are hearing all the campaigns saying, patience, patience. We are hearing from U.S. Senate candidate Mark Kelly, a nominee, Mark Kelly, saying whoever is leading tonight may not be the winner. That is the key. It is too early after that first drop. So all of these campaigns say—
I'm just warning you all, Arizona is going to be a total mess. It's going to be they're already claiming fraud. I have a pit in my stomach knowing what we are going to have to suffer through out of Arizona over the next days would be optimistic, potentially weeks, if not. Guys, we're still suffering through the Arizona stuff from the 2020 election. You can't even imagine what they're about to subject us to out of Arizona. It's just stunning, stunning stuff. Okay. Let me take a 5. We're going to monitor the CNN coverage. I will be back with you for the 9 p.m. results.
Wisconsin and more of the central part of the state. Now, obviously, he is trying to win a 3rd term here. And with it, he has brought implications of what that would mean. One, it could contribute to a change in power in the Senate, which means he would chair an investigations committee. And he has already said he is ready to ramp up the number of investigations out of Congress. On the other side of things, Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes, he has told us he is feeling very good tonight. He feels that they have done everything they could do up to this point. And hearing from party leadership in the state, Democratic leadership, feel that one thing that they're watching for tonight is that absentee ballots will be counted later. They're traditionally among the last ballots to be counted here at central counting facilities across the state. So they are watching for a potential red mirage and then some of their support to come in later in the night. Talking to Republican leadership, they're aware of it, but they say they feel good about what they've seen on Election Day itself, Jake.
All right, Omar Jimenez, thank you so much. With Johnson campaign headquarters in Wisconsin, and we're taking a look at the lay of the land in the U.S. Senate, and we were just joking about what's going on in Maryland right now. Tell everybody.
A look at the map can be deceiving early on in the night as we count results, as we've said. Just quickly, where Kyung-La and Omar, we're about to get 2 of the most competitive states in American politics when those results start to flow in Arizona and Wisconsin. But just to pop up, you see the state of Maryland is red right now. Chris Van Hollen is the Democratic incumbent. Chris Chaffee is his opponent. It's 13-12. Okay, but again, if you look at watching at home and you're just passing through quickly and you see the map red, that's why we want to explain it when we see things like this. We'll come back to that one in 10 or 15 minutes, and we'll see if that holds up. That would be a big surprise. But there are the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is blue at the moment. That's a Republican-held Senate seat at the moment. North Carolina is blue at the moment. That's a Republican-held Senate seat today. Ohio is blue at the moment. That is also a Republican-held Senate seat. Now, as we move later into the night, people watching at home, we've been cautioning you all night long. Please wait, please wait. Let's wait for more votes. Well, we're getting more votes, but we're still only at 37% of the vote. So you're still looking at disproportionately in the state of Ohio, early vote. I just was looking here a moment ago because this is Tim Ryan's House district. He's a member of the House of Representatives trying to run statewide in a very complicated red-leaning state. This is his House district. This is that base of his House district. It stretches out and down a little bit. Early votes in there, 33%, running a big lead. That's what he needs to do. Obviously, these are the people who know him best. This is his Democratic base. and you come up to Cuyahoga County, only 30% of the vote in here, 74% to 26%. That's a big deal, right? This, again, Democratic base. Cleveland and the suburbs around it. You move over here to Lake County. This will be interesting to watch, right? If this is blue at the end of the night, Tim Ryan is running very, very competitive because this gets more Republican as you move out Lake County in the suburbs. He's ahead at the moment, but it's half of the vote. And David Chalian is going to join us in just a second because disproportionately, I believe, we're still looking at more early votes than day of votes.
So right now, 37% of the vote in Ohio is in, and Tim Ryan is up with 37% in. Let's bring in David Chalian at the Battleground Desk to tell us. David, tell us who this 37% is and what we're waiting for.
Yeah, so you guys see that lead. Tim Ryan with 868,000 votes. J.D. Vance, 778,000 votes. You noted, Jake, that's with 37% of the estimated vote is fully in. 82% of that vote is pre-election vote. It's early vote, absentee by mail vote, early in-person vote, where Democrats tend to participate in bigger numbers than Republicans do. At the end of the day, we think it's only going to be 32%. 32% of the Ohio vote overall will be pre-election vote. So right now, this vote that you're looking at is overinflated with early vote. Not that they're not real votes and they're counted. It's just making up such a larger share than we think it will make at the end of the day. And that gives J.D. Vance and his campaign hope that as more and more of that election day vote comes in, that Republican-leaning vote, it's going to help him potentially overtake Tim Ryan in these vote totals.
All right, we'll keep watching the actual vote come in. And John, can you take me down to Georgia as the devil went down once? What are we looking at there?
Easiest way is a nonstop Delta flight from DCA. Look, you see again, remember this was not this close earlier, right?
Yep.
And not only was it not this close earlier, Senator Warnock was above 50%. Again, we're still at 53%. If you were with us in 2020 for the presidential race, early 2021 for the two Georgia runoffs, these are espresso races. These are you're up late and you're probably counting the next day as well. But you are getting more of the vote and you are seeing the margin tighten. So 49.6 to 48.7, 19,000 vote lead. This has narrowed quite considerably. And again, we were talking earlier, the Democratic incumbent senator on top right there, when you look at the map, this is a state where you have a Democratic incumbent senator and a Republican.
All right, folks. Well, as expected, it is getting tight in the Georgia Senate. And remember, if no one gets to 50%, there's a runoff. So it is very, very complicated. We are about to get more results at 9 p.m. And just it's endless things going on. And I expect that will be the way it continues most of the night, quite frankly. Mike Pillow called me out when I said, "Let's go machines" on a live stream. Mispronounced my name, made my week. That's weird. Can I get an answer on how Kenneth Copeland can represent Trump and keep his tax-exempt status? I have no idea. Shouldn't be able to. That's for sure. That's for damn sure. Okay, let's see. Yeah, we're just moments away. I don't want to do too much because we're about to get some important results in 1 minute. Let me just get caught up on thanking people. Mythodon, Wookie Jack, and Blooming Basil really appreciate the Twitch Prime subscriptions. And also want to say thank you to the 3, 4, 5 people who just signed up on my website. Folks, today is the day to do it. We have a goal of 2,000. We've never done it before. It is I consider this the beginning of what is going to be an insane 2-year period. We have to support strong independent media. Very simply, you can subscribe for free to my YouTube channel. This stuff costs nothing. Look at these numbers going up there. Oh, wow, look at that. They're really incredible. Oh, my goodness. It's like a slot machine in here. Look at that go. Wow. I'm liking it. I'm liking it very much. It's great to have all of you here. It's great to be on all of these platforms. And by the way, everybody watching on Facebook as well, let's listen.
15 states with a slew of high-profile races in key battlegrounds, including Arizona. And we have a CNN projection for you right now in New York. CNN is projecting that the current Senate Majority Leader, Democrat Charles Schumer, will be reelected, defeating Joe Pinion. In South Dakota, CNN is projecting that a member of Republican leadership, Senator John Thune, will be reelected, defeating Brian Banks. And in Kansas, CNN is projecting that incumbent Republican Senator Jerry Moran will be reelected, defeating Democrat Mark Holland. Let's look at the map right now and talk about the races that we are not yet going to make a projection. They include the Senate races in Arizona, Colorado, Iowa, Louisiana, North Dakota, and Wisconsin. As of right now, we do not have a projection in those races. The balance of power, of course, 100 Senate seats. Democrats have 37 of those seats. Republicans have 38 of those seats. There are 25 seats remaining. Republicans only need to pick up one net seat in order to regain control of the U.S. Senate. There are governor's races going on out there as well. Let's go to Boris Sanchez for that.
Jake, two projections to bring you right now, beginning with a familiar face being elected governor of Arkansas. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the former Donald Trump press secretary / communications director, following in the footsteps of her father, Mike Huckabee, becoming the new governor of Arkansas. We should note,
genuinely disgusting.
Elected governor of that state, defeating Chris Jones. Another projection to bring you now, this one from Rhode Island. There, incumbent Democrat Dan McKee.
Totally expected.
First full term in the governor's mansion. Remember, he replaced Gina Raimondo when she left the governor's mansion to join the Biden administration as the Commerce Secretary. We have some key race alerts to bring you now, beginning with the state of Texas. Last time we checked in, former Congressman Beto O'Rourke had a decent advantage.
Folks, it's over.
Greg Abbott, the incumbent Republican, has overtaken him, nearly 170,000 vote lead for Abbott with 33% of the vote in. An update now from the Peach State, Georgia. Brian Kemp building on the lead that we saw him take early.
It's over. I mean, guys, I know it hasn't been called, but Kemp's going to win. It was very clear.
Roughly 8% advantage for Kemp, still above that 50% threshold to avoid a runoff, with 55% of the vote in Georgia. Meantime, an unexpectedly close race in Oklahoma. A key race alert there. Kevin Stitt, the incumbent.
Kevin's tit is taking over.
A Democrat who actually flipped parties just last year specifically for this race. Stitt right now, 43,000 votes ahead with 34% of the vote in. Jake.
Boris, thanks so much. Let's the balance of power in the U.S. Senate, 44 Democrats, 40 Republicans.
All right, so we don't yet have projections from a whole bunch of those places, but the good news is they are now in play, and we're going to start getting data from them. So it has now turned gray. It's still zeros, but we are starting to get data. Actually, Arizona, they might have said that even though the polls closed, the data will be delayed an hour. But in a lot of these places, we're going to start to get some of that information. Let's check in on some of the most important and critical races that are going on. This includes, starting now, we are looking at gubernatorial races. Okay? Here's an at a glance. So in Florida, Ron DeSantis has won. That was expected. It's not a surprise. In Georgia, I'm not going to blow smoke anywhere for you fine folks. In Georgia, the expectation was Kemp would win. He's going to win. He is now leading by 8. And I expect him to win by roughly 8 to 10. It hasn't been called, but it's not looking good. Maine is an interesting one. We are looking at Paul LePage running against incumbent Mills. LePage is ahead with 5% of the vote. Michigan is an extremely important one where there was a MAGA-endorsed clown named Tudor Dixon. She is losing by 15. Only 8% reporting. Only 8% reporting. In Nevada, we don't yet have data. Looking at Minnesota, we have the first numbers from New York, where Lee Zeldin thankfully is losing. There's still a long time to go there. A long time to go there. Kevin's tit has taken a lead in Oklahoma. One of the most important races is governor of Pennsylvania. The good news is that Josh Shapiro is up by 53 over lunatic extremist Doug Mastriano, literally a Trump rioter. Okay. Texas, I expect Abbott to win, and he's ahead. Although there's people in the chat saying, David, it's a red mirage. Just wait, just wait. We're waiting, but I expect Abbott to win in that particular one. That's governors. Okay. That's governors. Let's now go over to the Senate. Let's go over to the Senate and look at some of the most important races. We have no data yet from Arizona. In Florida, it's already been called for Rubio. arguably one of the most important races alongside Pennsylvania is Warnock versus Walker in Georgia. With 61% reporting, they have Warnock plus 4.8, but I believe that there's actually newer data already. Let me see where Decision Desk has this one. Georgia is at 42%. That's way behind. And New York Times has it 52 with 82. Okay. 5247 with 50. Actually, so the newest numbers are indeed these 61%. Warnock plus 4, it's shrinking a little bit. And I know that there are people telling me that Walker is now ahead. These are the 3 panels I have, and these are showing Warnock ahead for the time being. Grassley is arguably in a tighter race than expected. Nothing's been counted yet. Quite literally, nothing's been counted. We don't have anything out of Nevada yet. Maggie Hassan expected to win easily in New Hampshire. Unfortunately, in North Carolina, Ted Budd has now taken the lead with 67% reporting. And then in Ohio, Tim Ryan is very narrowly holding a lead against J.D. Vance, but Vance expected to catch up. Pennsylvania, a race of absolutely critical importance. Fetterman plus 45, only 11% reporting. Okay? And then nothing yet from Utah. Utah's interesting where independent Evan McMullen is running, former Republican. That'll be a very, very interesting one, and we are watching that. And then in the House for now, it is still 3 pickups for Republicans. Remember, Republicans are expected to take the House. There are so many races and they're starting to fill in. We're starting to get data from the Dakotas, from Colorado, and from a lot of different places, all extraordinarily important in total. Individually, we have to just keep an eye on it. I want to say thanks to 4 additional people who just signed up on my website, putting us at 1,569 new members and Twitch subscribers. Folks, do not adjust your TVs. Do not adjust your laptops. Do not adjust your tablets. That is real. 1,569 out of 2,000. The goal is 2,000. We've been working on it for a few days. Also, thank you to Zed France and Avianet for the Twitch Prime subscriptions. If you have Amazon Prime, you get a free Twitch Prime subscription. You're basically taking a few bucks from Jeff Bezos and sending it to me. It's amazing that they allow you to do that. It really is. Let's listen as we continue to monitor these results. Oh, hold on a second. Let me get an update. So we spoke to Ian Vosh. People said, why don't you talk to Hassan? Hassan is just ignoring me on Discord. Destiny, let's see. How long will you be on that panel? We wanted to check in with Destiny. He's on a panel with Lauren Chen, Blair White, and Sean. They actually invited me. Lauren invited me to that panel. And I said no because I'm doing this. Folks, do you understand that? Lauren Chen invited me to an exclusive panel of dignitaries on Odyssey. And I said, no, I'm going to talk to you guys instead. All right. Let's see. We'll see if Steven can take a little break. Call Sam. All right, let me text Sam. Let me see if I can do that. Sam Cedar. Want to connect to check in? Skype, Discord, even better. Let's see what Sam says. That would be interesting. That'd be super interesting. All right, massive dump of Twitch subs. Thanks to Trent, Coltson, Gaijin, Sexatron, Philly, Troop, and 27. That puts us at 1578. Also, thank you to one additional person who just signed up on my website. That is Stephen McCabe. Stephen McCabe. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Destiny is banned on Twitch. Oh, damn. Oh, you are banned on Twitch, I just realized, so I guess we can't. That's too bad. Well, I'd love to check in with Hassan if he was able to do it. But he seems to have bigger fish to fry, for lack of a better term. Dan Bites, Mike Pillow called me out when I said, let's go machines on a live stream. Mispronounced my name, made my week. That's wild. David, thanks for the quality coverage. It's not going to be pretty. Can I get an Obama? Yes, hold on.
Obama. And we will ban men.
Exactly. I want to listen to a couple of voicemails. Just a couple of voicemails.
Yeah, so I voted early this year, which was awesome and easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
However, my friend went to the polls today, and I have no reason to disbelieve him. He said he put in a vote for Beto O'Rourke, and when he went to review his sheet, it said that he put Greg Abbott, and he went back and edited it, and I feel like a fool because I didn't review mine, so now I'm wondering if my vote got messed. I don't know. This whole election fraud thing has got us all confused. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Yeah.
And your show's great.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I don't know. These people, everybody starts getting worried. Did I do something wrong? What happened? For the most part, it's all like fine. It's all fine. A Bayphoto says, unfortunate that the likely best case scenario for Democrats is keeping the Senate losing the House, and it means nothing will get passed for at least 2 years. Sadly, you are correct. But democracy is at stake. Let's keep democracy, but lose the House. I would rather that. Sanjamin says, supporting channel from our safely blue district, California 24. Sad news from other states. Side note, EA Sports predicts one last chance for Messi AFA to win the World Cup. Cheers, fellow Argentinian American San Giovanni. Yeah, folks, I have my Argentina men's national team jersey ready to go. I got an Argentinian men's national team onesie for my baby daughter, and I am ready for the World Cup. Unfortunately, it looks like some of Argentina's games are at like 5 a.m. East Coast time. So that's not great. But I'm excited, and I will probably be wearing the jersey on game days during the World Cup. And also, Qatar sucks. Yes, Qatar sucks. Indentured servitude used to build the stadiums. All of it. Not even a shadow of a doubt. Thanks to Trigo, Crunchy, Robien, Better IPA, Exargoon, Destructive Eads, Commander Shep, Madman with a Soapbox, Mr. First, The Witty Wombat, Southpaw, Legendary, Britain Kale, Psy Major, Gravy Chain, and Advice Banana, putting us at 1593. Super appreciate that. Let's get an update on the latest races. The data is approaching quickly. We have new states to look at. Hold on. Did Sam text me back? No, he did not. People are saying go on with Sam. I'm trying to get a hold of Sam. Is Sam on Discord? I don't even know. Doesn't seem to be. Can I search for someone? Sam Cedar. Sam Cedar. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see on that. Let's see if Sam texts me back. If people want to tell Sam I'm texting him, that's totally fine. I don't even know that Sam's streaming. I mean, I'm guessing he is. All right, let's look at some numbers. So we're starting to see numbers come in from a bunch of different states. Is it pronounced Jared Paulus? I don't even know. Paulus, I believe it's Paulus. Incumbent in Colorado, very early numbers, 20% in. Paulus up by roughly 2-1. That's good. Kansas, Kelly, the incumbent, is up. In Nebraska, it's Blood versus Pillin. Blood versus Pillin. Very, very early. Super important gubernatorial races. Pennsylvania, Shapiro plus 41 with only 15% of the vote in. Only 15%. New York, Kathy is it pronounced Hochul? I never understood how to pronounce it. Is that the right pronunciation? Nobody knows. Great. Great. Super useful. It's pronounced Hochul. Okay. Kathy Hochul, fortunately, up 3-1 over Lee Zeldin. Let's hope she puts him out of his misery soon. Only 9% of the vote in. And then nothing yet out of Arizona. I believe I read we may not get data from Arizona until 10 p.m. But we will monitor that. Over in the Senate, seats of critical import. Oh, sorry, hold on. I forgot Dixon versus Whitmer. Whitmer holding on to an 8-point lead, but it is tightening up now with 10% of the vote. That's not great. You don't love to see that. All right, over in the Senate, in Pennsylvania, with 15% of the vote, Fetterman is up 31. Super early, super early. Some people are saying it's a blue wave, a blue mirage. Others are saying it's a red mirage. It's just early, guys. We just have to wait. And then, yes, Warnock still holding a lead over Herschel Walker. The vote count has slowed dramatically. And it is a 4.2% lead. And we are anxiously waiting for the Arizona numbers to start coming in. As far as the House of Representatives goes, it is still 3 pickups for Republicans. 3 pickups for Republicans. And that is absolutely critical. Absolutely critical to follow. I want to say thanks to Caleb Carr, who just signed up on my website, joinpacman.com. Let's look at some super chats here. Sending best wishes from Singapore. If the Dems can't keep the House and Senate, I just hope as little election deniers win as possible. Right, as few election deniers as possible. I'm with you. Here's some money for you to get a fancy coffee tomorrow. Much love, David. Dear God. Dear God. That is generous. I appreciate that. David, sir, if Republicans take the House and Senate, how strongly should they look into Jew? I don't even know what that means. What does that mean? Oh, like when Kanye said, I'm Jew. That was weird. It was really weird. David, loved the show, letting you know it's pronounced Polis, Jared Polis in Colorado. Thank you. I appreciate that. Spread the news. Don't make your daughters fight the war. Your grandmother's already won. Cheers from Miami, longtime viewer. Not surprised about Florida results, but I also feel like I'm going insane, hoping for better results than we got tonight. Yeah. Oh, okay. Josiah is a wonderful guy. People everywhere think so. Did you guys know that? That's a super interesting thing. Okay, let's see. Have we heard back from Sam here? Sam Sater, please. No Sam. All right. We're standing by for Sam. I think we may be able to raise Sam, but it may just take a little bit. Thanks to Pathos Portos, Subuman, Paulensky, General Anubis, Ziltoid, Trilphil, Miera, and Not That Dr. Phil for the Twitch Prime subscriptions, putting us at 1602. Also, thanks to our great friend Lars Behrenroth for gifting 5 subscriptions, putting us at 1607. Massive dumps of votes and memberships, all of it. And thanks to the 3 kind folks who just signed up on my website. We are anticipating the numbers, so there's people confused. Arizona closed, and yet we have no data from Arizona. How can this be? My understanding is that even though Arizona closed 20 minutes ago, we aren't going to have any data from Arizona until 10 p.m. That's what has been repeated a number of different times. David, want to know if you consider yourself a minimalist? To some degree. Yeah, to some degree I do. I would say so. Let's see what else we've got. A lot of people calling in.
Hey, David, this is Andrew from California. I was just listening to some Salem Radio Network, and I heard from them that Kerry Lake and Blake Masters and the RNC in Arizona have filed something to extend voting to 11 because they're claiming there was some issue with the machines or something like that based on some allegations. As far as I know, it's alleged. I don't know if there's any proof. I wanted to know if there's something.
Let's look
We're
into
doing a class action lawsuit against all machines.
Let's see. They want to extend voting. Yes, that is something that's happening. Let's see what Forbes says. A group of Republican organizations filed a motion. They filed a motion to extend voting hours in Maricopa County due to voting machine issues. Trump is talking about it. They want polls to stay open until 10 Mountain Time, which would be midnight here. No word yet as to whether that's something that they're going to be able to accomplish. The war is starting on the machines. That's clear. Marco Kane says, I don't have a dog in this fight, but I hope Fetterman gets over the line. He's gutsy and a fighter. Oz can go back to his show and snake oil. Absolutely. Absolutely with you. Let's, in fact, check in on what is happening in Pennsylvania. We are up to 16% of the vote counted. Guys, remember, Pennsylvania is known for painfully slow counting. Fetterman plus 26 right now with 16% of the vote. Fetterman's not going to win by 26. So we know that Oz will close the gap. The question is, by how much? By how much? In the House, it is still just 3 pickups for Republicans so far. I would love it for the people who in chat are insisting that it's going poorly for Democrats. Which races have not gone as expected so far? I mean, right, everything is as expected so far. What do people mean it's not going well for Democrats? Like so far, I'm not really understanding it. Nobody knows. Okay. Interesting. Thanks to Montian for gifting 10 subscriptions via Twitch. Also thanks to Phil Eagles, Al Johnson, and Chris Pat Jones. Also thanks to Deaf Atheist for gifting 5. 1628, ladies and gentlemen. The goal is 2,000. Big thank you to Mark Holt and Nathaniel Crowningshield for signing up on my website. Also, thanks to Diane Billsborough, putting us at 1631. Folks, this is a record. We've never had anything like this during a stream. Ever, ever, ever. I so appreciate everybody who is here. Super chats continue to come in. Yeah, I keep getting this same super chat. It's very funny. It's very funny. We're worried here in Wisconsin that Michaels will be our next governor. There's little that would be worse for us. I'm with you. In fact, I did want to look at Wisconsin a little bit. When it comes to gubernatorial, with 1% of the vote, Evers is leading. Can't really say much about that yet. And over in the Senate race, with 4% of the vote, Mandela Barnes is ahead by 40. Again, Mandela Barnes is not going to win by 40. So we know that that's going to close. We just have to see by how much. And it would be amazing for Mandela Barnes to pull that out. It would be genuinely fantastic. Raphael Warnock holding the lead. J.D. Vance has taken a lead in Ohio. He was polling ahead. There was hope Tim Ryan could pull it out. J.D. Vance has taken a lead. That is an important race for sure. David, as a coffee aficionado, what's your favorite place to get coffee in Buenos Aires? I don't have a particular one. Honestly, almost any place is good for coffee. State legislative races are trickling in pretty slow now. They are indeed. I know it's off subject. Did you catch Walsh on Rogan? Yes, we commented on it today. David, are you a fan of Broadway shows? If so, what's your favorite? I'm not a big Broadway guy. I'm really not. Nah. David, my wife won't stop talking about you. You're ruining my marriage. My kids are calling you dad. Please stop streaming. All right. Good night, everybody. No, we are here, and we are here very, very strongly and powerfully. That's what's going on right now. More voicemails coming in.
Okay, so here's the rundown. So with Pritzker, everyone was really happy when he first got elected because he's going to legalize marijuana in Illinois. And he did legalize marijuana, so that happened. So it's a big accomplishment of his. And then also his big accomplishment of his is, that I remember, is Illinois was a junk credit rating, and now it's a lot better. Maybe it's a C or something like that.
Whoa, that caller is shot out of a cannon. That is really something else.
Hey, it's Mark from Chicago. Not talking about Illinois today. It looks like we got things pretty much wrapped up. Looking at Wisconsin, Ron Johnson, that debate answer where he said, just those horrible things about his opponent when he was asked to say something nice.
Yeah.
That's the least Wisconsin thing I've ever heard of.
It was crazy.
Since, liking the Bears.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. If he loses, I think it's because of that. Stay safe out there.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. It would be amazing. Fetterman still leading, only 17% of the vote, leading by 23.5. It's tightening, folks. It's tightening. At the top of the hour, we are going to get a huge dump of poll results, and we should start getting the Arizona information. Oh, let's see if I heard from Sam here. Sam. All right, we may be able to check in with Sam. That would be really great. Let's see here. I can get that going. All right, not quite yet. Thanks to Failed States for gifting 5 subscriptions via Twitch. Also thanks to Skinflute, Sacred, H. Gray, and Timmy Eats Pizza, putting us at 1,640. Lastly, thanks to Grim Sheeper, Tommy Take, S2 Eki. Very much appreciate that. And a huge thank you to David Wilson, Nicholas Mercado, and Gordon Hall for the subscriptions on my website. Folks, if you want a free membership to the David Pakman Show, just fill out your name and email at davidpakman.com/free membership. We are giving them out. And there are many, many, many to give away. A simple thank you for streaming this, says Rob. Well, it's great to be here, Rob. Shapiro still up by 32. That's good. He likely won't win by 32. Okay? So that's that. Judge denies motion by Republicans to extend polling in Maricopa County. Seems like the correct decision. Sir, have you looked into New Hampshire Congressional District 1, Pappas versus Leavitt? I have not. I wouldn't be able to comment on that specific race. David, sir, we're screwed either way. Are we screwed either way? Because even if Dems win, it will be January 6th all over again. But even worse. I am worried about that. I am very much worried about that. No doubt about it. But listen, all we can do is use our votes. Right? I mean, what else can we do? Of course, those are concerns. Let's listen to a little bit of an analysis of Shapiro-Mastriano, critical race.
Swing county. Donald Trump won it just barely in 2016 when he won the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Joe Biden flipped it, won it just barely in 2020 when he won. So it is never like that. Even if Josh Shapiro wins it big, it is never like that. It just doesn't happen. So that tells you you're looking at early votes, and we have a long way to go. So where else do you look here? You come down to Philadelphia to see what votes in here. Only 13% of the vote in. You see Josh Shapiro at 94%. Wow. The Democrat most likely will be overwhelmingly up when we get to Philadelphia's final count.
But not that up.
If he's up by that much, then we have a blowout on our hands, if he is up by that much. And so then you walk out from here, and again, you come to Bucks County. Yep. This is the more competitive of the collar suburban counties. It still was a Joe Biden by 4 points in 2020. Yeah. Again, that would be shocking, but you'd rather be ahead than behind. But again, you're looking disproportionately at early votes. And so this is the governor's race. Let's just come out and look at it. Again, whether it's early or late in the count, you want to start ahead. There's the governor's race. Josh Shapiro at 64.4%.
Right.
The Republican
623,000. Yeah.
Right. The Republican candidate for governor.
Let's look at some interesting House races, if we can, including in Colorado. Which district is Beaubert? I forget. Is she the third? Yes. Early vote. 37% of the vote is in Colorado's 3rd district. Lauren Beaubert currently down by 3.9. I don't know enough about that district to know whether, I believe it's Adam Frisch, really has a shot. But it would be amazing to defeat Beaubert. Kirkmeyer versus Caraveo, going pretty heavily towards Kirkmeyer there. All races which we will be covering. Remember, what matters is how many seats do Republicans pick up. They are expected to take control of the House of Representatives. They have currently picked up 3 seats. Okay. Have you heard the judge at Wainwright Elementary in Houston refusing to sign ballots, insisting everyone leave when polls close? No, I did not see that. That sounds bonkers. I recall a Jesse Lee Peterson data clip on the soundboard. Seems appropriate. Can I get data on the next major update? I don't have that on my current soundboard iteration. Long story why, but too long of a story for today. Okay, that one we dealt with. Matthew says, can you thank my wife, Allison, for her hard work and vote today in New York? Thank you for all you do, David. Yes, thank you, Allison. Very much appreciate your hard work. Candidate party vote. Okay, we can't. That's a ton of just numbers. Sir, the great state of Maryland just went blue after 8 years with Larry Hogan. Everyone come over for crab cakes. Okay, let's look at that. Maryland. So, I mean, it hasn't been called as far as what I'm seeing, but it is very, very, very heavily slanted in the direction of the Democrat. That is absolutely true and a welcome result. From the standpoint of water, how wet is Elon Musk's perpetual whining and hypocrisy? His fragile ego, erratic business management, and fandom sucks. Well said. I want the Republicans to win if there's a chance the flow of weapons to Ukraine will stop. I'm from there. Fighting for Crimea or Donbass is not worth it. All right. Well, thank you for your input. Thanks to Patricia Johnston, Matthew Heeb, and Ruben Miranda, all of whom just signed up on my website, putting us at 1650. Folks, we can do it. We can do it. Thanks to Drunk Debate, Segway Cop, and Chocolate Bacon Crunch, putting us at 1653. Voicemails continuing to come in. Here's Juan.
Hey, David, it's Juan here, watching the stream. So I was having a nice chat, in the stream there, and I basically said that I voted 98% Republican in Florida, and I voted Democrat for Senate and House candidates. And someone in the chat says, why even bother? And, well, the point is, it's not all or nothing. You vote for the candidates that will hopefully address your concerns.
All right. Well, listen, Juan has a whole thing going on down there. People wanting to check in on how Fox News is doing. Let's do it. I am curious how they're covering this. Let's take a listen. I think this is Laura Ingraham, although she looks a lot different somehow. I don't know what, but let's listen.
Right now, but again, it's a long night ahead.
It is, and it's great to have you here.
Great to have you.
Joining us is Republican National Committee Chair Ronna McDaniel. Thanks so much for being here. Your initial impressions of tonight?
Oh, it's great.
Well, I think it's going to be a long night. I think your analysis has been spot on, but I do think looking at Florida, where we were 4 years ago was in recount territory for Rick Scott and Ron DeSantis, both of them within 1%. And to see what we have seen tonight really is a seismic shift, and I think a lot of that's going to come from the Hispanic population. The RNC's had community centers in Miami-Dade for over a year. We've really engaged with the Hispanic population.
So more or less what we would expect here from Fox News, and then we also have MSNBC. The problem we've been having with the MSNBC feed is this blinking. This blinking is just absolutely terrible, and I don't even know what I can do about it. I've refreshed and it just doesn't fix it. It's horrifying, but let's listen a little bit.
Held seats here. So take a look like at Virginia 7. We told you the story a minute ago. We're still waiting on the absentee vote from 2 heavily Democratic areas of this district. An opportunity still for Spanberger, who's trailing by 5,400 votes, to catch Yesli Vega and to save this seat for Democrats. You take a look at Pennsylvania 7, Susan Wild. Again, it's early. It's heavily male. That's one they need to hold on to. Here's one the Democrats are very excited about right now, Rhode Island, too. Now, this was a heavily Biden district, but Alan Fung, the Republican candidate here, got a lot of national attention. This thing was seen as a pure toss-up race heading into today, and we're getting up to 90% of the vote. And actually, what we've seen happening here is mail vote coming in, vote by mail coming in, and pushing Seth Magaziner into the lead in this district. So, again,
All right,
now
I
we're
think
just,
I
as
have
you
a
say,
solution
Ohio
here, which is to pull up MSNBC in a different browser. And I think we fixed it. Let's listen. Oh, hold on. Let me unmute.
But is this high enough for Democrats to withstand the same day and win? It's certainly possible right now. You're not looking at this district and saying, oh, yeah, I could see Republicans are definitely on their way to winning there. Henry Cuellar in Texas's 28th district, probably the most conservative Democrat in the House, survived a primary challenge from the left, running in this region of deep South Texas that we saw trend heavily towards the Republicans in 2020. Now, it's some of Cuellar's best areas of the district are reporting so far, but with half the vote, he's sitting near 60% right there. Again, what I'm showing you is outside of those sort of gimme seats in Florida and plus one in Tennessee and one in Georgia, I'm not showing you seats where at this moment Republicans are clearly poised to get flips. That's not to say they're not going to get some flips in those seats that I just showed you. Meanwhile, and they did pick up two new seats, but what I wanted to show you was Democrats themselves have some seats that they here we go. Democrats themselves have some seats that they could flip. That's this page right here. So take a look at Michigan 3. This is where in the Republican primary, Peter Meyer,
So listen,
the Republican
for all the people putting in the chat, it's a disaster for Democrats so far. I'm just not. Oh, I've interviewed this guy, John Gibbs. He's out of his mind. It's not looking terrible right now for Democrats, given what was expected on the way in. David says, hey, David, can you thank my fiance, Erin, for her support? She's a huge fan of yours. Absolutely. Erin, thank you for your support. I really appreciate that. Very, very much so. All right, let's, we've got a projection.
Incumbent Democratic Senator Michael Bennet has been reelected in the Colorado Senate race. This was a tightly watched race because the Republicans were very confident in their candidate there, Joe O'Dea.
Yeah,
but Joe O'Dea comes up short, and Michael Bennet will be returning to the Senate. Back to you, Steve.
Yeah, so, and that by the way, that Colorado quote.
Listen, it wasn't close, but you always want to be sure that you get those. You always want to be sure that you get those. Okay. Let's reset. It is the day of the 2022 midterms in the United States of America. Democracy is essentially on the ballot here. One party, listen, folks, this isn't about who wants a 37% tax rate versus who wants 39. It's not about that. Okay? This is fundamentally about, do we believe that when a candidate gets more votes, they should assume the office they ran for? It's crazy that that's what this is about, but that's essentially where we are in this country right now. It's also about, is there any bar too low for a Republican candidate? Carrie Lake, absolutely no, standards in the toilet. Herschel Walker, Mehmet Oz, Doug Mastriano, J.D. Vance. Is there any candidate where Republicans are willing to say, hey, you know what? Even though I don't like Democrats, this is too low. This is too low, even for us. I don't know. I don't know at this point in time. And maybe we will be able to answer that question today. Okay, we're going to ban some people. Just toxic, horrible, horrible people. And let's continue on. They got to stop baiting us, calling these safe races as if they were ever in question. Yeah, I know. It gets confusing. Yeah, it's confusing. In 20 minutes, we are getting a huge dump of vote numbers. Let's just check. I just want to check whether there is any. No, this is not it. Do we have any data from Arizona? No, nothing from Arizona yet. Latest numbers in Pennsylvania, Shapiro still up big. And then over in the Senate, Fetterman still up, but it's tightening. It is certainly tightening. And then in Georgia, Warnock up by 1.4. Dear God. If the race ended like this, it would go to a runoff in Georgia, which is very dangerous. It would be better for Warnock to win out. Well, let's back up. It would be better for Warnock to win. It would be better if he's going to win with at least 50% to avoid a runoff. Because a runoff could get very dangerous. Very dangerous. Imagine a situation where this goes to a runoff and determines who controls the Senate. And Republicans pour every last dollar into this race to make Herschel Walker, who can't even speak, certainly can't think, one of 100 senators from the United States. Scary stuff. Very, very scary stuff. Kevin's tit has been reelected. Not a big shock. Thank you for your optimism, David, from mid-Michigan. Listen, it's not about optimism or pessimism. It's about realism. Just where are we right now? How are things looking right now? And that's essentially where we are. I do want to say thank you to Amber Fritz, Kevin Way, and Sean Irwin for signing up on my website, joinpacman.com. We are just at the beginning. This is just the beginning, folks. We first have to figure out who's winning today. Later, we go to how does this impact the next 2 years? And how does it impact 2024? What I can assure you is that this is going to be a crazy 2 years. I see people in chat asking, am I worried about censorship from MAGA between Republicans probably taking control of the House and maybe the Senate, and Elon Musk buying Twitter and all these different things? Yeah, listen, I mean, we worry about everything. We worry about everything. But we do what we can at the time. And so I will mention that we in left-wing media have been talking amongst ourselves. How are we going to deal with certain aspects of this if indeed Republicans take control? But we're waiting on that. Dino says via Super Chat, David, senor, the amount of members you have tonight is suspicious. Is the member count tabulated by a machine? Perhaps you ordered your henchmen to dump fake memberships in. No. I know people are saying, David, usually you go for like 100 memberships. What 2,000? How do you have 1653? It's an incredible day. That is a cumulative number over the last 4 streams. But we are shooting for 2,000. Let me tell you right now, the best thing you can do, go to my website, folks. Go to my website, joinpacman.com. You will get instant access to the bonus show. Hard to beat that.
Pac-Man's a loser. Oh, the bonus show where you want to make money, but everybody else that makes money to fund themselves is bad.
This is not a joke. Alex Jones hates my membership program. He hates it. He's out there owing people $900 million. And meanwhile, we've got 600 new members. Okay? Joinpacman.com, monthly or yearly. I don't care. Do whichever one you want. Hit the sign up button. Okay? Coupon code above my head. Hey, you know what? Should we just launch the new coupon code right now? Like, what am I even really waiting for? Folks, let's do it. The new coupon code is just the truth. The code is 24 starts now. 20. Look at this, folks. This is criminal. Criminal. Attorneys general are frothing to come after me. This is the code. First person to use it on my website gets a free item from my online store. Whatever you want. I'll send you the hat. I'll send you the mug. I'll send you the Band-Aids. Just kidding. There's no Band-Aids. All right, back to the results. But in all seriousness, that is the new code. Let's make it a reality. Let's make it an incredible reality. All right, Super Chat's continuing to come in. David, if the House or Senator lost tonight, what should Biden's strategy be for getting stuff done? Put Republicans in the position of being obviously insane for blocking the things you want to do. Now, that means you can't get very ambitious things done. That's a reality. Let's let the dust settle and talk about that tomorrow. I'm worried my rights as a gay man can be taken away and trans rights taken away if Republicans win more seats. Like I pray to Jesus that if they do win, that we LGBTQ don't lose rights. Thanks, David. Many folks in the LGBT community are extraordinarily concerned about that. Shanti says 2 gay guys in Alabama looking to move, Colorado, Washington State, or Oregon. I've never been to Washington State or Oregon, so I would not be the right person to advise on that. Don't want to lead you astray. That's for sure. Where are we here? There we go. Hey, from Kiev, Ukraine. We are fighting for our lives and freedom against Russian fascism and genocide. Very disappointing to hear you thank Jan for his disgusting comment. I was thanking Jan sarcastically. Very, very clearly sarcastically. I apologize if that didn't come through. Very much so. Welcome to Alexander Camilton and Cobra via Twitch Prime. Folks, we are seeing a dump of memberships on the website like we have never seen before. I want to say thanks to Jeff Gilliland, but most importantly, Barrett Meeker didn't use the code either. We're still waiting for the first person to use the new code. 24 starts now. Actually, let me put it up here. 24 starts now. First person to use the code 24 starts now gets the free item of their choice from the online store. There's 53 people trying to do it right now. David, never mind George Soros. Is your channel single-handedly funded by user S-Prez? Exactly. S-Prez has dumped 2,900 memberships on us. Okay, we are standing by 12 minutes from now. We may get our first Arizona data. S-Prez has just gifted 100 more subscriptions, putting us at 1757. Couch Bunnies makes it 1758. Incredible. David, sir, seeing as you have presumably visited Colorado, what was your experience like? Support from Denver. Well, I visited Denver. That's the only place I've been in the state of Colorado. And I had a nice time. I didn't see that much. I was there for a conference, but it was a nice city. It seemed like quality of life was quite high. I wish I could, I'd like to spend more time there for sure. Mike Pillow said he would be live streaming tonight with his cyber guys where they would be watching it get stolen live. Is he streaming? That's a good question. What's the website? frankspeech.com or something like that? Access denied. Weird. Seems like they're having a website outage. Yeah. I don't know what happened with it, quite frankly. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, it's weird. Frank's speech was supposed to be streaming. We'll have to wait and see. David, sir, with tears in my eyes, I think you have the best live stream. People don't know it, but it's the best in the history of the country. I appreciate that. I really do. Panera Bread ad just popped up. Thoughts on that chain? I've never been inside of one. I do not recommend going to Panera. Do not go to Panera. I would not go to Panera. Yeah. Arizona state legislative results are tied. House 10-10, Senate 4-4. More to come. Now, I wonder, some interesting folks here. Okay. Oh, thank you to Soft Porn. That's P-O-U-R, like to pour coffee, who just subscribed via Twitch. I follow Soft Porn, P-O-U-R-N, on TikTok. Does really great coffee content. Highly recommend. Do you think the GOP win control of the House? If they win, they will really cut Social Security? I don't think so. I think they know that it is absolute and total political suicide. Tell me if you think I'm wrong, but I think they know it is absolute political suicide. Let's listen.
Nevada polls close in about 10 minutes. Our friend Jacob Soboroff is live for us right now in Henderson, Nevada, with only about 10 minutes on the clock. Jacob, it looks like there's still a ton of people there.
Yeah, maybe as many, Rachel, as 300-400. I was just talking to the election officials way at the front of the line. When I talked to you guys last about 3 hours ago, there was only one line right here, and it ended all the way up by the Christmas tree. Now it kind of doubles back 3 times, almost like an amusement park. And let me just show you what's going on here. The line actually still snakes almost, I think, hold on one second. Let me just run and check. I think all the way outside. Yeah, so there are people outside right now, Rachel, that are waiting in this line. And I think, what's important to note for people who are watching us right now, for people who might still be in this line, if you are in this line, within the next 10 minutes, you are going to get to vote, even if you're outside.
That's right.
This mall actually closes at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock local time, but they want everybody to vote. So when I talked to you last, I think the total was just over 2,000. The tally as of right now is almost 2,500 people have voted at this location. And I've been monitoring what John Ralston, the dean of the Nevada Press Corps, has been saying about turnout here, that overall, it appears to him to be lower than he expected it to be. That hasn't been the case here. It also has not been.
All right, folks, I am being notified that our website is under such heavy load from people trying to sign up. You guys may have crashed the website. I am going to have it all taken care of right now. This is crazy. So many people are trying to sign up right now on the website that the website is down. It is unbelievable. For some people, it's slow. 3 people were able to do it. Okay, let me do this. Richard Walquist is the first person to successfully sign up with the new coupon code 24 starts now. You can email info@davidpakman.com to get your free item. I am going to restart the server right now. So many of you maniacs are trying to use this new code that you crash the website. It is stunning. Stunning. I guess this is a good problem to have. People are saying the code is not working. The code is working. The website is just collapsing under the pressure of all of you people. We're going to continue on. We have results in 8 minutes. Let's get through a few other super chats here. Frank's speech site is up and I'm watching the live stream. Oh. Am I somehow banned from Frank's speech? Let's see. It's possible. Could he possibly have banned me? No, it's going to some weird WordPress thing. I think. Yeah, I don't know. It's very strange. Hello from Kansas City, Missouri. I know our state Senate and House races might be a red blowout, but we're hoping recreational marijuana passes. Any thoughts? Also, get barbecue sometime. Yeah, I've been to Kansas City, Missouri. I think I went to KCMO BBQ places. Let me see if I can remember which one I went to. I went to Arthur Bryant's. Arthur Bryant's. Christy Nome won South Dakota. No surprise. That is exactly what was expected. That is exactly what was expected. Couple other voicemails coming in.
Hello, from Denver. I know you're going to get to it sooner or later, but I just have to try and point out to you that you need to look at the Boebert results.
We will.
The New York Times has her down 18 points at this point. I never expected it. Thanks.
Yep. Let's actually, I think we have time to look at it before we get to, let's see here, Boebert. Okay. So we go to Colorado. God, which one of these is it? 3rd District. With 45% reporting, Adam Frisch is leading Lauren Boebert by 5.7. It would be unbelievable if Lauren Boebert could be knocked off. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. But we just have to wait and see. We just have to wait and see. Let's get updates from Wisconsin. 30% reporting. Evers ahead of Michaels. That's good news. In Michigan, with 14% reporting, Whitmer is ahead of Tudor Dixon, but not by that much. And in Pennsylvania, critical race, Shapiro ahead by 21 with 36% of the vote in. Sticking with Pennsylvania, the latest Senate data with 36% reporting is Fetterman plus 11. It's continuing to tighten. It's continuing to tighten. Okay, let's get back over to, let's take a listen here.
Beasley's number is actually a little bit underneath Biden's, but Bud's number is underneath Trump's number too. So Bud's not getting quite what he was expecting out of here. Now take a look. Here's a core Democratic county, Orange County. This is where Chapel Hill is. Democrats are going to get a big number, but Beasley is getting two.
Folks, the website is back up. Tons of people are signing up. Let's hope it stays up. The new code 24 starts now, is firing up a lot of people. There's 232 people trying to sign up right now. I don't even know if the website is designed for that. Quite frankly, I just don't know. But it's up right now. It's up right now. And that I can tell you. That I can tell you. Thanks to Saroa, Smona, Bling Bling Dabunny, Diboxide, as well as Smooth Brain Ape, Living Vertex has gifted 5. That puts us at 1769. Ladies and gentlemen, we've never seen anything like it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13 folks using that new coupon code, putting us at 1782. We can't even keep up with it as we are almost at the stroke of 10. So let's see. Is Hassan joining us? It doesn't look like it. And is Sam Cedar joining us? It does not seem like it. Okay. All right, let's listen here. Or no, a couple other. Oh my God, look at this. Herschel Walker, the most unqualified man in the world, has taken a lead in the Georgia Senate race. Herschel Walker may be the next senator from Georgia, which would humiliate us as a global joke. But remember, if nobody gets 50%, there's a runoff. If nobody gets 50%, there's a runoff. What if David from 15 years ago could envision this moment, describing a party that will assume fraud in any case they lose and that their followers will buy it? This isn't normal. It is not normal, Charlie. You are absolutely correct. Do you think pollsters can reach Gen Z voters? I don't know, and I have a segment on the show today about this. Very, very powerful segment on today's show. I don't know. There are definitely issues with polling. We are 2 minutes from huge vote dumps. Okay, so everybody stand by here. Really important. We're, I believe, going to get our first Arizona data. Let's listen.
Neither candidate does not get to 50%. I do have at least one call to make. In the Louisiana U.S. Senate race, NBC News can now project that incumbent Republican Senator John Kennedy has been reelected. His Democratic opponent was Gary Chambers. But John Kennedy will be returning to the United States Senate. At this hour, the Democrats control 40 seats in the Senate. The Republicans control 41. There's still 19 seats to go. We do have 2 minor changes in characterization, both in the same direction. In the New York governor's race, this race is still considered too early to call, but I can tell you that NBC now describes this as a race in which Kathy Hochul is in the lead. Again, too early to call, but incumbent Democrat Kathy Hochul in the lead. Similarly, in the Maine governor's race, the Democratic incumbent there is Janet Mills. It is too early to call between her and her Republican challenger, the former governor of Maine, Paul LePage. It is too early to call, but NBC News' election desk now characterizes Democratic incumbent Janet Mills as being in the lead. So again, in the New York governor's race and in the Maine governor's race, we've got Democratic incumbents there, both in the lead, although they're both too early to call.
It's fascinating. I mean, the thing that I think is the clearest is, I'm going to do what Lawrence was doing, and I'm just going to repeat Chris Hayes' lines, is that there is a
I'm trying to get Brian Tyler Cohen to join us. We've never done anything together, but we recently exchanged some messages. I'm going to see if we can get him because he's also live streaming, and that would be a really, really great thing. Okay, so stand by. If you're watching him or whatever, You can tell him I'm trying to get a hold of him via Twitter DM. That's how we communicate. So that would be cool if we can get him on. Thanks to this Juan for gifting 5 subscriptions via Twitch. We are... Oh, actually, let's just listen because these polls are closing within seconds. We don't want to miss it. Here we go.
They were for Liz Truss's policies, which ended her prime minister. I mean, that's what they were on TV touting. 3 more weeks and the cavalry is coming, said Stephen Moore. So I think the fact that they ran on crime and they ran on inflation and they didn't have any solutions, voters saw through some of that.
10 o'clock. In about 15 seconds
Here
on the East Coast. The poll closings at 10 o'clock are Montana and Nevada and Utah. Again, we're still watching all of the close Senate races in the country right now, but with polls closing right now in those 3 states, this is what we can tell you in terms of the NBC News election desk and projections at this hour. In the Nevada Senate race, we've got a Democratic incumbent, Catherine Cortez Masto, facing a Republican challenge from Adam Laxalt. This race is currently not characterized on our screen, but I believe this is too early to call. Correct? Yes. In the Utah Senate race, incumbent Republican Mike Lee facing an independent challenge from Evan McMullin. This is also too early to call. In the Nevada governor's race, we're looking at a Democratic incumbent, Steve Sisolak, who's facing a Republican challenge from Joe Lombardo. This is also too early to call. Again, so too early in Nevada Senate, Utah Senate, and Nevada governors. Let's recap what's going on in some of these closely watched Senate races. The North Carolina Senate race, it is too close to call between Republican Ted Budd and Democrat Sherry Beasley. In the Georgia Senate race, it is too early to call between Democratic incumbent Raphael Warnock and Republican Herschel Walker. Look how tight they are. In the Ohio Senate race, it is too early to call between Republican J.D. Vance and Democrat Tim Ryan. That's with about 2/3 of the vote in. In the Pennsylvania Senate race, with about 40% of the vote in, it is too early to call between Democrat John Fetterman and Republican Mehmet Oz. In the New Hampshire, interesting Senate race here, it is too early to call. Maggie Hassan, the Democratic incumbent, facing Republican.
I think that's going to be callable soon.
Less than 40% of the vote in. It is too early to call in New Hampshire. And in Arizona, we are looking at a too early to call race between Mark Kelly, the Democratic incumbent, and the Republican challenger, Blake Masters. At this hour, the Democrats control 40 Senate seats. The Republicans control 41. 19 are still in play. Steve,
I'm working on getting Brian on. It looks like we're going to be able to make it happen.
Individual House races that you're watching. You got more new news for us on that front?
Yeah, why don't we start in Ohio, because we talked about Ohio is important, a couple different districts here for different reasons. So you can see the Senate race here right now with Vance about 2/3 in ahead of Ryan. I was just looking at some of the counties where we have all of the vote in, and what the pattern that I'm finding so far is that Vance seems to be running underneath Donald Trump's number, but not underneath it necessarily to the degree he would need to for Ryan to win outright. There are still some big Democratic areas with a lot of vote, but there are some encouraging counties for Vance. Remember, Trump won this state by 8 points, but when you take a look at the House races, the key House races in Ohio, let's start up here in Marcy Kaptur's district. And again, this is one of those Trump voting Democratic-held districts that's in that first line of attack for Republicans, right? This district was drawn in a way where Republicans looked at it and said, we're going to pick this up. Marcy Kaptur, 40-year Democrat veteran, 2/3 of the vote in here. Now, let's dive a little deeper and show you these are the component counties of the district. And you see Kaptur's leading. And we know that what's being counted right now is primarily same-day vote, which is generally the most Republican-friendly vote. So you'd say, OK, chance for Majewski here. Here's the problem for Majewski. Let me take in a quick tour of the district here. Look how much vote is in the core Republican counties. They're already up to 90% in Defiance County, basically 90% in Williams, over 93% in Fulton. You look over here in Sandusky County, they're over 90%. Ottawa County, which is very competitive, you know, they're basically, now, look where there's still outstanding vote. The Motherlode, Lucas County, okay, this is where Toledo is. Now, it's same-day vote.
That is good news. If that holds, that is very good news, because it was looking like Majewski might take this one. It's 45. Let's hope.
In this district is coming from a core Democratic area, and Kaptur already leads in the district. So if you're a Democrat, I think you're...
All right, folks, we're going to be linking up with Brian Tyler Cohen momentarily. This is a critical moment.
First congressional district, and this one's getting close, and this one's going to be very, very
Here we
important.
go. Let's see if we can do it. Oh boy, that didn't work. We're going to get it going.
There are still votes to come, same-day votes. You expect that to be heavily Republican.
Here we go. Hey, Brian. Oh, you've got video. Oh, hold on. Let's see if that's even better. I can bring you on with video. Let's see here. Let's see if we can bring Brian on. Folks, look at this. Can you hear me, Brian?
I can.
Oh, wow. Are we live right now?
Well, I'm off my screen right now.
Oh, you're off. Okay, you and I are live on my channel.
Okay, great. Long time coming. Am I live
This is
right
an
now?
incredible moment, I have to tell you.
Yeah.
It is so great to have you on, and
history is being made. I finally blinked first.
I have to say, I believe that me not having a middle name as part of my branding has probably cost me 300,000 YouTube subscriptions. If I was like David Tyler Pacman, I feel like I would be killing right now.
I'll tell you what, not great these days to be named after cryptocurrency. I hope that my stock is higher than cryptocurrency stock is right now. But alas, here we are. Actually, the reason why I have a middle name is because I used to act, and there were way too many Brian Tyler Cohens. I think it was like the 16th. So I was forced to dig deep to bring my last name into the picture.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
So what are you thinking right now? How's everything looking from your end?
You know, there's a bunch of people in my chat who are saying it's looking terribly for Democrats, but compared to what it looked like 4 days ago, it's sort of looking like maybe it's okay.
I feel cautiously optimistic about this, and here's why. There were a bunch of potential pickup opportunities for Republicans that Democrats have already been able to stave off.
Yeah.
Michael Bennet out in Colorado, Seth Magaziner in Rhode Island's 2nd Congressional District, Jennifer Waxton in Virginia's 10th Congressional District. We have Virginia's 7th Congressional District as well that looks to be a hold with Abigail Spanberger. So these were like break glass scenarios for Democrats, and it's not looking like we're succumbing to any of those to those, like, you know, disastrous situations from the right now.
I agree.
So, you know, we're going to keep an eye on a lot of this stuff, but even Herschel Walker and Raphael Warnock's race is looking pretty good for Democrats right now.
So the last update I got on that race, all of a sudden does not look quite so good. I don't know what source
That's okay,
you're using.
though, because if you look at where the votes are still outstanding, if you look at Columbus, we still have 40% of the votes outstanding. If you look at Augusta, which is another major Democratic population center, we're looking at 15% of the votes still outstanding. That's in Richmond County. And then all the Atlanta suburbs, we're waiting on, in Fulton County, 30% of the votes still. In DeKalb County, 30% of the votes still. In Gwinnett County, half the votes still have to come in. And in Cobb County, about 35% of the votes. So there's still a lot of votes left to be got by Raphael Warnock.
That is absolutely true. And that must be 10 minutes old data, because some of those numbers are lower than you just mentioned. And my concern is that the early lead seems heavily skewed. So the latest update, now up to 78%, has pushed Walker into the lead. So listen, I hope you're right. Absolutely. I'm getting a little bit worried about it.
Yeah, I mean, look, we wouldn't be Democrats if we weren't a little bit worried.
Exactly.
All right, well, I'm going to jump back over to my channel. Let's do this again in a few minutes, if that's okay with you.
Yeah. Just let me, whenever you're ready, I'll just leave my Skype on.
Excellent. Thanks.
All
Talk
right,
to you guys soon.
Brian Tyler Cohen, an historic moment, ladies and gentlemen, in the David Pacman show, I have to tell you. So we'll leave that on. And then this is sort of going okay, I think, right, guys? I mean, I don't know. Okay, good. Hogan says, David, sir, with tears in my eyes, can I get a shout out for my pregnant wife? Shout out to your pregnant wife. Also, can my unborn child use the coupon code? Yes. I don't want to add more prison time to your illegal coupon code. No concern whatsoever. No concern whatsoever. Folks, S. Prez just gifted another 100 subscriptions, putting us at 1887. Okay? This Juan gifted another 5. Sounded Great and Howling Stars have signed up. And then beef stews we already got. On my website, ladies and gentlemen, I don't even know. Let me see this. Hold on. New membership. I want to get the right number. 42. 6, that's 36. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on the precipice of David Pakman Show history. We may hit 2,000 new members and Twitch subscribers at the moment that Brian Tyler Cohen joins us back, which would just be unbelievable. It would just be unbelievable. None of this has ever happened before. And hopefully Herschel Walker will lose his race. All things happening at the same time, which would be unbelievable. Welcome to Geostigma gifting 5, as well as Toby is 6 is 1942. And ladies and gentlemen, we have done it. S-Prez gifting another 100 subscriptions, as well as Melody, putting us over 2,000. Let's go for 2,500. I'm not afraid if you're not afraid. That I can tell you right now. I'll go for it. David, sir, will you send best wishes to my brother in Arkansas, where Sarah Huckabee Sanders is now governor? Yeah. You're going to need it. You're going to need it. Best wishes for sure. That is brutal. Brutal stuff. I would not want to be living in Arkansas right now. That's for damn sure. That is for damn sure. Let's take a look at the updated Boebert numbers, which I know a lot of people are worried about. 69% of the vote in, and Lauren Boebert is down 4.3. That is tightening up. But folks, we might kick out Boebert. Listen, I have to tell you, if we zoom out a little bit, okay, the 3 main Trumpian clowns of the House of Representatives are Boebert, Green, and Cawthorn. Cawthorn lost his primary. Green is easily winning. Boebert might lose. That would be getting rid of 2 out of 3. Now, we are starting to get data from Arizona. And I really want to look at that data very, very closely. Let's start looking at the gubernatorial data. With 40% of the vote in, Hobbs is ahead of Kerry Lake by 11%. Folks, this is like when a pitcher's pitching a perfect game. I don't want to say too much. We're going to watch that really closely. This is one of the critical bellwether of, it's like an insane bellwether. Has the country descended into full psychosis? This race will tell us a lot of that. Okay, this race will tell us a lot of that. And then over in the Senate, we have our first data in Kelly versus Masters, another critical race with 41% reporting. Mark Kelly is up 15, overrepresenting early voting, overrepresenting mail-in. These are bellwether races. Bellwether races. We are going to watch both very closely. We are going to watch them very, very closely. Let's see what's going on. I don't know what's going on with Brian. All right. Sir, you might ask BTC how he secured high-profile interviews with Biden. Also, TDPS show membership clearly won the midterms. Yeah, the real winner is right here. See this number right here? That's the real winner here. It was great to see you and BTC in one show. Enjoy both of you. Yeah, hopefully he'll call back soon. Keep us in your thoughts here in Oklahoma, David. Sad day. Very sad. You guys are in our thoughts. Extremely sad situation there. Let's hear the analysis on Kelly Masters.
Democratic county, but that Pima piece of it that'll come in a minute will be significant.
Can I ask our study cam operator if I could see that shot of Steve's papers again?
Yeah. Really organized over here.
Okay. You were looking down, Rachel. The most magical part of the moment was that he found what he was looking for.
Of course.
I couldn't find what I'm looking for in front of me.
If we don't do the slow motion replay, someone is going to do it online for us.
The internet
on
will.
Twitter. We can own it, or they can.
He found it.
I have some characterizations I need to make here. I'm sorry to interrupt, especially given what we were talking about. In the Illinois Senate race, NBC News can now project that in the Illinois Senate race, Democratic incumbent Tammy Duckworth is reelected. Tammy Duckworth will be returning to the United States Senate. In the Georgia Senate race, this was previously characterized as too early to call. This is now too close
my goodness,
to call.
look at that.
Between Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker. I don't
Look
know,
at those
49
numbers.
to 49 with less than 700 votes between them. How do you call that too close to call? That's with just under 80% of the vote. It is too close to call in the Georgia Senate race. In the Illinois governor's race, NBC News can now project that Democratic incumbent J.B. Pritzker, governor of Illinois, has been reelected. He has defeated his Republican challenger. And in the Wisconsin governor's race, this is previously too early to call. It is now too close to call between Wisconsin Democratic incumbent Tony Evers and his Republican challenger, Tim Michels. That's with about 43% of the vote in, too close to call in the Wisconsin governor's race. And on that note, I'd like to go to our friend Simone Sanders Townsend, former chief spokesperson for Vice President Kamala Harris. Simone, I know that you've been talking to sources on the ground in Wisconsin. We're obviously watching that Senate race and also that governor's race very closely. What are you hearing from your sources?
So Democrats on the ground tell me about the governor's race, that they are actually surprised that he's up this early, and it's a good sign, but they caution that there's still a long way to go. Wisconsin is a place where folks can register to vote on Election Day. Democrats in the state spent a lot of time and effort to increase turnout, particularly among young people.
First, Barnes versus Johnson numbers, very important.
In Milwaukee, for example, a black voter turnout is up. I believe they said over 123% at this time in the last midterm election. Young people up 300% across the state. They've seen lots of great turnout over long lines on college campuses, University of Madison, UW in Eau Claire, in Milwaukee. So people are feeling emboldened, but they do caution it is going to be a long night. Now, Mandela Barnes' campaign has said that and Mandela Barnes told me himself that he is used to being the underdog here, and he's fine that people have maybe counted him out, but they are still quite competitive. And I think that we are currently seeing that in the numbers. Again, it's still a long night. Milwaukee will take a long time to count because different municipalities count differently. It is not a centralized count. And then Dane County, again, where Madison is still coming in. But they feel good. And I have long since said, Rachel, that I do think that it's not Pennsylvania that is the most flippable seat for Democrats. It is actually Wisconsin.
And Simone, in terms of looking at those two races simultaneously, anything that you're hearing out of the state, anything you know about these races and the way they're being run, what can you tell us about synergy between the Mandela Barnes campaign and the Tony Evers campaign? Because we're obviously getting reports of votes from the same precincts in the same part of the states, but there's a split with Evers coming in at a higher percentage of the vote than Barnes.
Let's review some of these numbers ourselves because they are it's getting actually to a critical point in a few of these different places. Maybe we'll just do a brief reset. If you're just joining us, there are so many incredible races going on right now, not the least of which is this race on the screen. Herschel Walker, a man who can't speak and can't think, is tied with Raphael Warnock. Critically important in Georgia is that if neither candidate gets 50%, there would be a runoff election. The reason neither has 50% is there is a third candidate who is, 1 point something, I guess maybe not quite 2%. It's 1 point something percent. And then the other fraction must be write-ins or spoiled. Who the hell knows? There may be a runoff. And it's possible that control of the Senate could come down to that runoff, if you can believe that. So that is of absolutely critical importance, and we are watching that. We have been joined by a number of different people already. We did a chat with Ian Vosh, the streamer. Great conversation. We had Brian Tyler Cohen on. I thought he was going to call me back and we were going to then be live on both streams, but maybe not. I don't know what just happened. But my Skype is open for whenever Brian wants to come back. And we have been really kind of gearing up for what is going to be one of the most important 2-year periods in American politics that I will have ever covered. That I can tell you for sure. Folks, support progressive independent media, whoever you like, okay? Is it Brian? Is it Ferran Cousins? Is it our great friend Jesse Dollimore, thankfully recovering well from his cancer surgery? It's, Sam, everybody, you guys know everybody, okay? It costs nothing to subscribe to everybody's channels. Look at these numbers right here. We have right now 17,000 people watching on YouTube. Almost none of you are subscribed. I know that because you have no clue who I am. And that's fine. Hit like, hit subscribe. This stuff is free. We've got to build the ecosystem. Build the ecosystem. And I know y'all can do it. Okay? I know y'all can do it. And by the way, we did launch a new coupon code today. The code is 24 starts now. About 100 people have used it so far. Go to joinpacman.com. Alex Jones literally hates what I do with membership.
Oh, the bonus show where you want to make money. Everybody else that makes money to fund themselves is bad. That is a frickin' predator right there. He's not a knight at the round table. Pac-Man's a loser. Thank your lucky stars every day you're not Dave Pac-Man.
Part of what Alex Jones hates is this. It's this. It's that I'm not selling liquid silver. Okay? Hit that joinpacman.com. Let's make it happen. All right? Okay, other messages coming in. You have to see this. Frank's speech is up. Oh, hold on. Let's see if I can get back on Frank's speech. We wanted to see what was up with Pillow. Oh, here we go. Oh, dear God. We have to see this. Let's see what's happening on Frank's speech.
At your door at 6 a.m. You mentioned Paul Manafort. I remember reading in the paper, they showed up at his house around 5 a.m. and they threw his wife out in the front lawn in her nightgown. Wouldn't even let her get dressed. I mean, so these are, I have friends who are at the FBI, some who are used to be at HRT and so forth. And the idea of allowing yourself to be misused in that manner to intimidate an American citizen who is not violent, not charged with any crime that would warrant that type of arrest, it's atrocious. And it's really, this is the normalization of a police state. And that cannot be in this country. I mean, it actually
is Pillow even on this broadcast right now?
Getting choked up about it because people have almost become kind of, desensitized to it. And that's not right. That's not what this country's about. And there was the FBI whistleblower's last name was Friend, I believe, who was his story came out in the New York Post talking about just these types of things. Where
all right, well, listen, it's not exactly the most important thing going on right now. So let's get away from that. But I do want to see what's going on with Pillow at some point in time. I don't want to. He probably will lose his mind no matter what the results are, to be totally honest. But we will monitor that. Okay.
Actually, in the Iowa governor's race, NBC News can now project that the Republican incumbent governor of Iowa, Kim Reynolds, has defeated her Democratic challenger, and Kim Reynolds will be reelected as Iowa's Republican governor. You guys, what Steve was just saying there about those House races.
I mean, and Lawrence talked about the history of midterms. The incumbent president's party takes I think Bobby used the word whooping, I think George Bush.
Okay. Let's look at some of the most important numbers that are coming in, not Pillow. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to close out a few things. I'm going to close Troth Central. We got to keep that open for sure. I'm going to close Vosh's stream because I don't think we're going to need it. We already did this. I'm just cleaning up my tabs a little bit because it's just getting to be a little too much here. We're not doing the Crowder thing or the Tucker thing right now. We've got results. This I can close. Okay, this is like way, way cleaner right now. Whoa, just a little pop there. Did you see that? All right, let's go. Here we go. Let's get the latest numbers from Arizona. Democrats have made 2 gubernatorial pickups so far in Arizona with 42% of the vote. So here's what happened in Arizona. Arizona closed an hour and a half ago, but we didn't get our first data until half an hour ago. About 40% dumped in right away, and now it's crawling. So 42% of the vote. Hobbs leading lunatic Kerry Lake by 11. okay? Looking at the Arizona Senate, with that very same 42% of the vote, this is a critical race. Kelly is up 15 over freak Blake Masters. Okay? Very, very important. Other important gubernatorial races, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is chugging along. It is now at 54% of the vote, and Josh Shapiro still leads by 14. Understand that in 2024, this race could decide who the next president is. Okay? In Pennsylvania, the governor chooses the Secretary of State. In 2024, the presidential election could come down to Pennsylvania if Doug Mastriano, a literal big lie proponent, January 6th attendee, picks the Secretary of State. They're just going to try to steal those electoral votes in Pennsylvania, even if the Democratic candidate wins. This race is of critical importance, critical importance. Good to see in Michigan that Gretchen Whitmer is still up 9. Only 25% of the vote. Only 25% of the vote in. And then an important race in Minnesota where the incumbent is well ahead. And then we also have Wisconsin where Evers is up by 6 with 48% of the vote. So that's gubernatorial. Unfortunately, I believe it's over here. It's over here in Texas for Beto. In terms of the House of Representatives, we are just kind of like generally paying attention to what is the shift. Republicans are expected to take control of the House, and so far they have picked up 5 seats. That being said, out of sheer, whatever, we are interested in Lauren Boebert's district. With 71% of the vote in, Lauren Boebert is losing by about 4.5. People saying, check Illinois. Do you mean Illinois Senate? Let's look at that. Illinois Senate. No, you must mean something else. Illinois Gubernatorial? No. Do you mean Illinois House? I don't know which one you mean. Yeah, it's complicated. This is why it's tough to look at House. Okay, let's back out of there. The important thing is Republicans have picked up 5 seats so far. Other important Senate races, of course, we are really closely watching what's going on here in Georgia. Herschel Walker has now taken a larger lead with 81% of the vote. Herschel Walker is now leading by about half a point. That being said, this would go to a runoff. Don't lose hope quite yet. It would go to a runoff if these were the final results, with neither candidate getting to 50%. And then we get activated in Georgia. That's for damn sure. Do we build a wall around Georgia? One viewer asks. I don't know anything about walls. Let me put it that way. Okay. Let's see what other messages are coming in from different people. 8 more memberships dumping in, putting us at 2,097. Thanks to everybody signing up on Twitch as well. Very much appreciate you. Super chats. Herschel Walker in politics is like Lindsay Lohan being a guidance counselor. Walker talks like the Family Guy portrayal of Floyd Mayweather Jr. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot, Serge. David, you are the best. How do you think Herschel Walker is tied? I'm confused and depressed. Well, we have a very sick country. Very, very sick. They're talking about the race now.
Sorry, I was distracted because the point I was going to make is you come in here and you think, okay, Senator Warnock's getting blown out here, right? And he is. But in close races, to your point about, Brian Kemp, popular conservative governor, who's doing okay in the Democratic areas. Okay.
Not horrific.
Right, not horrific, right? But he's doing okay. And then you come out here where Herschel Walker's getting 65%. You say, well, why are we talking about that, right? That's 30 points. That's 31 points. Well, we're talking about it because of this. Because that's, 35 points, right? It just a little bit matters, right? 5,971 votes for Stacey Abrams in this county. 6,200.
So, but that's 300 votes for Raphael Warnock that Stacey Abrams didn't get.
And it's 300 there, and then it's another couple hundred here, is what I'm saying. So in the very rural conservative areas of Georgia, Warnock's getting blown out, but by a not much, by a smaller margin.
Smaller margin.
20 votes here, 100 votes there matter. Now, it matters.
Yeah, listen, I don't know that that's really going to be enough at the end of the day for Warnock to get to 50%. Will it go to a runoff and then you figure it out? Okay. But I just don't know that it's going to be enough for Warnock to get to 50%. And we're going to watch that. We have to watch that one closely because it is such a critically important race. Person has restarted the live stream and is watching it from the beginning. Well, that's interesting for sure. That's very, very interesting. Let's see what else we have going on here. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Brian. Maybe, I guess he does not want to do a simultaneous thing on his stream right now. Is that what's going on? Let me see if I missed a message from him. I did not. All right, well. Oh, super chats are dumping in. Do you think Walker even understands that if he doesn't win, get 50%, there's a runoff? It would be totally plausible that Walker has no idea how the runoff works. Yeah, that's perfectly plausible. Dem candidates should declare victory based on early voting results. Frankly, we did win. I know. Listen, they keep saying that Ohio is too early to call. Great. I mean, keep it going for as long as we can maintain hope. The Pennsylvania race has tightened up quite a bit. That's not so good. Whatever happens tonight, we know one thing. Carrie Lake will announce her win. Folks, it's over. It is over for Mastriano, thank goodness.
Projected winner against Republican candidate Doug Mastriano.
This could be the 24 election. Folks, we cannot possibly overstate the importance of this result.
On a leader even in the Senate race, but in this governor's race, NBC News has projected the winner. Josh Shapiro versus Doug Mastriano was one of the starkest.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I will say the Wisconsin races, the governor.
Now, I want you guys to remember when Trump claims he's 100% on endorsements, Trump endorsed Mastriano and Mastriano lost. It's not even close.
Different visions for the state that were more different than the two.
It was the governor's race and the Secretary of State's race because the governor appoints the Secretary of State. And what was going to happen
like I told you.
Pennsylvania with Mastriano was one of those issues that one of those possibilities that made Joe Biden say democracy is on the ballot.
Indeed.
Pennsylvania could have lost democracy.
Shapiro ran on extremism and abortion, and he tied it all together in one of the most powerful speeches of the midterm Saturday night in Philadelphia in that big event with President Biden and President Obama. But he ran on abortion. He also was the target of anti-Semitic attacks on a daily basis. Mastriano took money from Gab. I mean, it was sort of the center of the extremist MAGA movement, running against a very competent, very message disciplined, very, very good candidate in Josh Shapiro.
And by the way, Josh Shapiro, for two things. One thing is his margin. If his margin stays looking like that, this is not a state where you're necessarily going to see people ticket split. There isn't. You can kind of see where there might be somebody who would vote for the governor of Georgia, the sitting governor of Georgia, but also vote for Warnock. It's hard to imagine a ticket splitting voter in Pennsylvania. The other thing is that in Philadelphia, one of the things that campaigns that they were concerned about was, can they get the under 25 vote out? Young voters are actually turning out in higher numbers than Democrats actually even expected them to. Josh Shapiro made a big play for younger voters in Philadelphia, for voters of color in Philadelphia who were targeted. And those issues, abortion was a huge issue for voters under 25. And so if he maintains that kind of margin, it might be a big enough margin.
One other interesting tool that I was just sent by producer Pat is the New York Times needles. These are reacting, at least to the extent we believe it, in real time to what is happening with the vote count. And one interesting thing that you will see here is that in the Senate races, where are they? Yeah, here we go. In Pennsylvania, it is giving John Fetterman a 66% chance of winning. In Arizona, it's giving Mark Kelly a 66% chance of winning. In Georgia, however, it has Herschel Walker at a 53% chance of winning, which is not great. Not great. None of these needles are 0, none are 100. Yeah, I don't love these needles. It's not my favorite visualization tool, but it is something. Too Damn Lucky says, much love from Michigan and cautious optimism for Big Gretch and Prop 3. Thank you for your coverage. Appreciate it. And thank you for being here. Absolutely of critical importance. Thanks to 2 more people, by the way, who just grabbed memberships on my website. David, if there isn't a red wave in this economy, isn't that a good sign? If there isn't a red wave in this, the economy is pretty good. Dino, we may just, I may not totally understand the context of your question. Most economic we're at like full employment, record low unemployment, better than expected job creation, better than expected GDP last quarter. Yeah, I just don't know necessarily what you mean by that. Okay, let's see what's going on here.
This is the status of the counting in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, so let's look at this because officials there are doing this marathon counting. That means that they're not stopping until all the ballots are counted. So no one's, going home in the middle of the night. They're going to keep this up, and we're going to be seeing these results coming into some key counties here. So, John, you can kind of walk us through some of this and give us a sense of what this is going to mean for the night unfolding ahead of us. In Philadelphia, we'd been told, of course, that these final results there could take days. We're now hearing that officials are going to tell us they'll do a press conference within the hour to update on their status. But of course, we don't know. Obviously, this is going to take some time with some of the measures that they're taking there to verify some of these ballots, right?
Well, Brianna, just remind people, because one of the things that happened in Philadelphia is that the Republicans made a move and are demanding Philadelphia election officials to take steps that they're not demanding of election officials in any other part of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And even the Republican commissioner was upset about what was going on. So let's
That's right. And in the end, you had that Republican official joined also by a Democratic official, and they're going to go ahead and proceed with that verification of what they're seeing at the polls and cross-referencing these ballots just to make sure that they don't have anyone challenging or that they should not be able to actually challenge. We'll see if that actually means no one does challenge what they're doing. Right. But it just means it's going to add a lot of time to it. I want to head now to Berks County. So you see this here. Reading is obviously in Berks County. And so what we're looking here at the mail-in ballots, these are expected to be done here in a few hours. We're actually going to see these in-person votes by midnight. So brew a little coffee, but it's not too much farther ahead of us, right, where we're going to be getting some information about what's going on there.
Well, let me jump in for 1 sec, Brianna, because she makes the point that we have more ballots to count. Again, you're looking at margins, right? So Joe Biden wins this, Donald Trump wins this county by a little bit more, 8 points, right? So that's 6 points right there. The question is, can John Fetterman keep it that close? It's just one county, but you're looking at margins all across. But as Bree notes, we have some outstanding votes to count. Sorry to interrupt. Go.
Okay, so the other thing we're looking at, if we go to
that was a little weird. That was a little awkward right there. Let's get back to Steve Kornacki for a moment.
Memo, kind of a public letter telling the media and telling his supporters how to think about the results as they were coming in Pennsylvania. And he was saying the way that Pennsylvania is forced to count by law is something that's going to make it look like the Democrat is well behind. And so even though the Republicans may look like they're way ahead, we have to wait till it's all in. Everybody has to be patient because the surge in Democratic votes will come in late. He was describing that procedurally to people to sort of set expectations for what the vote count would be like. Was he wrong in describing that that's how the vote would come in? Or is he just doing better than expected, and so it doesn't look like the Republicans ahead, even though that is the way the vote is being counted?
No, he was describing, I heard a lot of this. I felt, a lot of expectations for how the vote was going to be reported in Pennsylvania and other states was based on how it was reported in the 2020 election.
Seems to have
we
changed.
were getting indications from election officials that they had, in their view, learned some lessons lessons and come up with new plans. And so that's why right off the bat tonight, if folks were watching, they saw right off the bat within 5 minutes of poll closings, we got 100-something thousand mail votes out of Allegheny County. Totally different than 2020. And then a few minutes later, we got something like 60,000 mail votes out of Philadelphia. Again, totally different. And a bunch of other counties released huge batches of mail votes. So Fetterman started the night. It really looks like the complete opposite of 2020 when Donald Trump built that big lead based on the same-day vote. We've seen Fetterman build a big early lead in the tally based on the mail vote being released first in so many places, and then Oz playing catch-up as the Republican counties and the same-day voters come in. But as we're showing you, this really becomes a test of, all right, fine, we got 61% in statewide. Let's look at the counties where we got all the vote, and let's measure them against 2020, and let's see if one party's doing a little better or a little worse than 2020. And so far, the trend that we're seeing, there's a lot more still to come here, but the trend that we're seeing is that Oz isn't really hitting those Trump 2020 numbers. He's coming very close, but he's not quite hitting them. And Fetterman's doing a little bit better than those Biden 2020 numbers. And again, Biden won the state by 80,000 votes in 2020. So I'm really eager to see as these more votes come in.
That's a very good sign. That's a very good sign for Fetterman. Let's get some of these updated numbers all over the country and look at critical races going east to west. Not a hugely contested race nationally, but Kathy Hochul remains about 25 points ahead of challenger Lee Zeldin. Zeldin's horrible. 42% of the vote is in there. As they have been talking about in Pennsylvania, this is over. This has been called for Josh Shapiro. This was one of the, I believe, most important 5 races of the entire election. And Josh Shapiro has won. Other networks have already called it for Josh Shapiro. Doug Mastriano, very, very scary lunatic, was at the January 6 riots, thinks Trump won in 2020. Truly horrifying. Okay, so that is good news. Michigan. Michigan is one where there is a Trump-endorsed MAGA candidate named Tudor Dixon. Right now, she's down 8, but it's only 28% of the vote. So has not been called, and we're continuing to look at that. In Wisconsin, Evers ahead of Michaels by about 5 points. More than half of the vote is in. That's important. It is certainly not over. In Georgia, I did not expect it to be particularly close, and it's not. Brian Kemp about 9 points ahead of Stacey Abrams. I think soon they're going to be calling that. Surprised they haven't already. Other very important governor's races, in case you don't know, but I'm not surprised at these. Ron DeSantis, it's already been called in Florida. It's a huge victory for DeSantis so far. Really crazy. I believe it is. It has been called for Greg Abbott in Texas. Beto has lost. And then of absolute huge importance, major bellwether, Arizona, we are now up to 50% of the vote. Kari Lake is down by 14. This is 50% of the vote. Kari Lake down by 14. Super important race, almost like a bellwether gut check of insanity. Super chats and different things coming in. Thanks to Call Me Ref for the Twitch Prime subscription. Really appreciate that. Also, thank you to everybody who is signing up on my website. Folks, we have a new projection here. Greg Abbott, I just gave you that one based off of other data. Do not adjust your TV. We really are at 2,113 new members. It is an incredible number. Super chats coming in. Kevin asks, do Georgia voters want to have men looking at women looking at social media? Yes, that's a Herschel Walker quote. I know it makes no sense, but it is. Seems like good overall turnout this cycle. Watching Fetterman Oz like a hawk. Shapiro and Fetterman have similar numbers, not much split ticket voting. That's good news for Fetterman. I agree. If Boebert loses, will she blame critical race theory? Yeah, let's get an updated look. That is just like a ha-ha race because Republicans will almost certainly take the House, but with 71% of the vote, Boebert is losing by about 4. I would love it if Lauren Boebert lost. That would be really, really great. Like just fantastic. It would be a fantastic thing. We need to keep talking about corporate profits driving inflation, not ignoring it. Well said. I don't disagree with you. I think that that's perfectly fair. I do want to say thank you to somebody who signed up with the name Go Stacey Abrams on the website and is new member 2114. A couple of voicemails are coming in. Let's see what we got.
Hey, Deepak, John again. Brian Tyler Cohen is busy right now. I got you on one TV on my 55-inch, and I have another TV that I'm watching his live stream on.
Nice.
But yeah.
So you've got me on the bigger screen. That's important.
That'd be cool if you guys hook up. You're always on my playlist every day. So, all right, have a good show. Don't be upset if he doesn't get a hold of you later.
All right. Thank you very, very much.
Hey there, David. The name's Mike from northern Minnesota. I'm just actually in the midst of frying up some a batch of latkes here. I'm currently watching your midterm election coverage.
Mike, for all that is holy, I hope you actually made latkes and not potato pancakes, and that this isn't a semantic confusion. I really hope you've got genuine latkes and not a potato pancake.
So I'm not sure if and even when this will get played. I am simply curious, being in Minnesota, I don't know if you have paid any attention to the relatively maybe minor player that is Minnesota with Tim Walz versus Scott Jensen, doctor, and I put doctor in air quotes, Scott Jensen. I couldn't help but make the maybe surface level connection between Scott Jensen with his family doctor status.
Okay, this one's going on a long time, and I can read ahead the transcript. It's not really getting anywhere. So we're going to bail on it for now, but I really appreciate everybody who's been calling in. It's very much appreciated. Also, thanks to Jeff in Boston for gifting 5 subscriptions via Twitch. If we can't flip Texas or Florida, what's the odds in the future? Well, we just have to wait and see how things change. I don't think we can make any assessments today. It's looking good for Fetterman. Look at the Philadelphia percentages. I'm a little worried about Oz leading in. Is it pronounced Reading or Reading in Pennsylvania? Because in Massachusetts, it's Reading. I'm sorry, it's Reading. It's spelled Reading, but it's pronounced Reading. Not sure about that. It's pronounced Reading. Okay, very good. We are 13 minutes away from the next tranche of results, and it is of absolutely compelling nature to see what happens at the top of the hour. A lot of these numbers are going to be filled in at the top of the hour. We are only 13 minutes away, and I hope you will stay with us. Jay says, hi from Erie, Pennsylvania. Our county has been a huge predictor for Pennsylvania in the past few elections. So far, we are blue. Let's hope the trend continues. Very interesting perspective. Not familiar with that trend. Let's go over to... Actually, let's stay here for now, just for a few minutes.
And for just resident status, but then there's the overall numbers, too, in terms of control of the House. Is it conceivable that the Republicans won't win control of the House? I mean, is that even within the realm of possibility?
Yeah, at this point it is. It's conceivable. That's not a prediction or anything, but I'm telling you.
This is interesting.
I have no sense of time here, so I'm looking. It's 10:45 p.m. And well, I mean, I'll take you through some of these New York seats that are interesting. But why don't we start then on that big picture question and take a look at the House here? And again, we organize this sort of by tier here, starting with the front line of Republican attack here. These are the most vulnerable Democratic seats on paper, just because these are the Democratic seats that voted for Donald Trump. Now, what you see 5. Everyone that's red is a Republican flip. And these are all districts we basically teed up at the start of the night. The 3 in Florida, along with Georgia and Tennessee, 5. All 5 of these districts in redistricting were redrawn basically in a way to elect Republicans. They all elected Republicans. They all represent flips. We came into the night knowing that there was almost no circumstance where Democrats would win a single one of these. So those were the 5 that were kind of baked in. But notice that nothing else has been colored in on this first line of attack for Republicans. And in fact, let's start going through some of these. Ohio's 9th district, we've been following this story tonight. Marcy Cap, they're now up to about 3/4 of the vote in. And again, Lucas County, we got a lot of votes still to come in Lucas County, Democratic part of that.
This is a big deal. If Majewski loses, it would be glorious. I interviewed him. He's a clown.
Most of the voters in, and John Fetterman is running ahead of the Biden number. The congressman from that area is Matt Cartwright. There's more vote to be counted, but Cartwright, you see, with more than half the vote, and you see the advantage he has. Now, again, there's some disparities here in terms of, the mail vote, the share that this accounts for, but the Democrats are very much in the game here. The 2nd district of Maine, this is, Donald Trump has won the electoral vote from this district. In Maine, they give out the electoral votes by congressional district. Trump twice won this district, twice got an electoral vote out of it. Jared Golden trying to defend the seat. He's running against Bruce Poliquin, who he unseated in 2018. One thing to keep in mind here is that Maine does instant runoff voting. So if Golden finishes ahead of Poliquin but short of 50, they would go to an instant runoff.
Steve, I'm sorry to interrupt you. We have an important call in a very closely watched race. This is a Senate race projection in the great state of New Hampshire. Republicans really wanted to pick off incumbent Democratic Senator Maggie Hassan.
That's
they have
good.
failed in their efforts.
I think they probably could have called this way earlier, but it's good to finally see it called.
Returning to the United States Senate, having beaten back a challenge.
I appreciate the $100 super chat. Love you, David. So excited for Shapiro in rural PA. Worried for that one for a while now with all the Mastriano signs. Disgusted with that guy since he organized the Rudy hearing out here. Yeah. He's disgusting.
Democrats that they might lose that seat. At this hour, the Democrats hold 42 seats. The Republicans hold 43. 15 seats remain undecided. Steve, back to you. Oh, yeah. Sorry, hold on. I've been told that I should not go back to you because I can interrupt myself again.
Totally expected.
In the Connecticut U.S. Senate race, the Democratic incumbent Richard Blumenthal will also be returning to the United States Senate. Again, so we've just had calls in New Hampshire and...
By the way, that's another Trump loss. Trump endorsed Leora Levy. She lost. So tomorrow, whenever Trump's going to tout his endorsement record, he endorsed Doug Mastriano. They flushed him. Okay? He endorsed Leora Levy. They flushed her 10 to 15 times.
Spider-Man meme where they're like facing each other. There need to be a Rachel and a Rachel.
I can just actually just hit myself. I can just do that.
Rachel and Anger Rachel. I just say, if we're still here, Chase Oliver down in Georgia.
Yeah.
He's
okay. We are just a few minutes away from what are going to be the last major set of results for the night. As you can see, Herschel Walker is building a lead to 1.2%. Again, if nobody gets 50, there's a runoff. Do we really want to take that chance? I don't know. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. But at least if nobody gets to 50%, it's not over. It's not over. Okay, folks. I want to look at the Pennsylvania numbers. It's time to look at Pennsylvania numbers. Let's look at Pennsylvania Senate and see what is going on. With 65% reporting, John Fetterman has now fallen below 50% and is leading Oz by only 1.8. I don't love that. That's not thrilling to me. So that we have to keep a very, very close eye on. In Arizona, with 51% reporting, Mark Kelly is winning by 19 points. This was a race that Republicans said was winnable. It's not over. It's only 51%. But the fact that Kelly has a 19-point lead over the freak show that is Blake Masters, maybe one of the worst people in the world behind only Carrie Lake. I'd rather be up 19 than down 19. Can we put it that way? Is that fair to say? Similarly in Arizona, with 50% reporting, Katie Hobbs is 14.1% ahead of Carrie Lake. Carrie Lake is going to claim fraud if she loses. We know that. Okay? You don't understand how important it would be to defeat Carrie Lake. I have friends in Arizona who, because of the reproductive rights issue, are thinking of leaving the state if Kari Lake wins. They're dealing with IVF and embryo stuff, and it's just the possibility of Kari Lake winning is truly horrible. This is a really important one to be following. And it's still early. None of us are going crazy, okay? But that is really something. That is really something. The one that's not looking so good is J.D. Vance ahead of Paul Ryan. Let's listen to what Jen Psaki has to say.
That people were predicting wouldn't be won by Democrats.
There was a narrative that became increasingly untethered from the data at a certain point. And I got up to walk my dog at like 5:30 in the morning, made the mistake of checking Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I'm going to make a projection right now. We have a projection in that Ohio Senate race where NBC News is currently projecting that J.D. Vance, he of formerly Yale Law, Silicon Valley, and hillbilly elegy, will be joining the U.S. Senate, defeating Tim Ryan, a congressman from Youngstown area, who ran what everyone thought was a great race. But those numbers there, 54-46, as we're projecting this, Michael Steele, they look like the gravity of the partisan makeup of Ohio in the year 2022, pulling that race to its fundamentals.
Yeah, in many respects, that's true.
So sadly, the polling, there was no reason to suspect there was foul play in that polling. That is the expected result. And I don't think that's a big shock. We're really here holding out hope that Fetterman wins, that Kari Lake loses, that Mark Kelly wins. It's still too early to call, but as you can see on the screen with 51% in, Blake Masters losing by 19, which is really good to see. I mean, that's absolutely horrible, horrible, horrible. Do I think it was a mistake for Fetterman to debate Oz? Chelsea asks. I don't know. I think not debating would have also raised a lot of questions and created problems for him. That's the difficulty. It's easy to say, well, it was a mistake because it didn't go well. But I think not debating would also have caused a problem. Folks, let me do one more reset here. We are 3 minutes away from getting results in a whole bunch of West Coast states. Any moment we are going to get those, and a lot of these numbers are going to be filled in. We are going to be here tomorrow. We will be here until every vote is counted, reporting to you on the podcast and on YouTube and everywhere. Next Tuesday, we will be live with Donald Trump's announcement from Mar-a-Lago, presumably that he's running for president, although we will see. I cannot more strongly implore you that we can't allow Republicans to beat us again with the building of a media ecosystem. Look at some of these numbers. J.D. Vance, to some degree, won because Republicans built the local and independent media ecosystem to a degree. Next Tuesday is Trump. Sorry, for people who are confused, not tomorrow. I'm sorry. A week from today is Trump's big event at Mar-a-Lago, okay? My requests to you today are simple. All of the shows that you like on YouTube, please make sure that you're subscribed. It costs nothing, and it is the most important signal to YouTube that they should be recommending our content beyond just to the people that are already subscribe and are on our side. Okay? These are live numbers. If you're watching right now, you can hit that subscribe button. It costs nothing, and I really appreciate everybody who has done so. There's almost 20,000 people here. Most of them are not subscribed. We could dump in like 15,000 in an instant. If you're watching on Twitch, make sure that you're following us. Several hundred additional folks have done that. We always stream on Twitch. And of course, if you're watching on Facebook, make sure to give us a like. At the end of the day, shows like ours don't have the corporate support that folks like this do. Okay? And the most powerful way you can support the work that we do is to go to joinpacman.com. 2,129 of you already have, either on my website or via Twitch. Joinpacman.com. We have a new coupon code. We launched it today. The coupon code is 24, starts now. Look at this pricing, folks. Look at this pricing. come on over. Let's see if we can hit our goal of 2,500. I believe this is the start of one of the most consequential 2-year periods in American politics, certainly that I have ever covered. In 1.5 minutes, we are going to get some very important results. And I look forward to bringing those to you. So far, I have to tell you, the thing I'm taking the most pleasure in are the Arizona numbers, okay? Primarily because she's such a disgusting person. Right now, Kari Lake is losing by 13 points with 50% of the vote in. There's no way it will end up being a 13-point margin, but if Kari Lake can be beaten off, that will be a great thing. In addition, Blake Masters, one of the worst people in the world, is losing by 19 to Mark Kelly. Now, we haven't gotten updates here for some time. The last update was 12 minutes ago here and about 10 minutes ago here. We're watching both of those really important races. Let's go now to the latest numbers.
Hour 11 o'clock on the East Coast, which means we are expecting yet more poll closings. The poll closings that are coming up in less than a minute now are California and Idaho and Oregon and Washington. So we will bring you characterizations of those races as soon as those polls close. I should also tell you, our political insiders were just talking there a moment ago about the projected winner in the Pennsylvania governor's race. Doug Mastriano was the Republican challenger. The Democratic Attorney General Josh Shapiro is the winner. We're expecting a victory speech from Josh Shapiro a few moments after the top of the hour. To the extent that we are able, we will try to bring you some of that Josh Shapiro victory speech in Pennsylvania, in that Pennsylvania governor's race, right after these polls close.
Beautiful win.
At 11 o'clock on the East Coast, we've got polls closing in 4 states. NBC News election desk can project at this hour these races as follows. In the California Senate race, the projected winner is Democratic incumbent Alex Padilla. Alex Padilla will be returning to the United States Senate. In the Idaho Senate race, the projected winner is the incumbent Republican Mike Crapo. In the Oregon Senate race, it is right now too early to call between incumbent Democrat Ron Wyden and his Republican challenger Joe Ray Perkins. In the Washington Senate race, we've got incumbent Democrat Patty Murray facing a Republican challenge from Tiffany Smiley. That race is also too early to call.
It's not so
Looking
good.
now at some of the governor's races. We have the California governor's race.
Newsom.
Incumbent Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom
obviously
is projected to have won that race. He will be reelected as California governor. In the Idaho governor's race, the incumbent Republican is Brad Little. He is also projected as the winner. He will be projected to be reelected to that race.
Critical one
here. And in the
here.
Oregon governor's race, which is a very interesting one, it is too early to call between Democrat Tina Kotek and the Republican Christine Drazan. Now, again, in that Oregon race, it's worth watching a third-party candidate who may be determinative in that fact, but we shall see. In the Wisconsin Senate race, recapping some of our previous races here, but actually this one is a change in characterization. This one previously had been too early to call. It is now too close to call in Wisconsin between incumbent Republican Ron Johnson and his Democratic challenger Mandela Barnes. In the Georgia Senate race, it is too close to call between Herschel Walker and Raphael Warnock, with about 86% of the vote in. In the North Carolina Senate race, with just over 90% of the vote in, it is too close to call between Republican Ted Budd and Democrat Sherry Beasley. In the Pennsylvania Senate race, we've got about 71% of the vote in. It is too early to call between John Fetterman, the Democrat, and Republican Mehmet Oz. And in the Arizona Senate race, we've got 51% of the vote in. It is too early to call between Democratic incumbent Mark Kelly and Republican challenger Blake Masters. At this hour, this is the control of the United States Senate.
Look at
the Republicans holding 45 seats, the Democrats holding 44, with that dwindling number of undecided seats. 11 Senate seats still to be called. There is one House race that we want to point out here. This is the Vermont at-large House race. And the reason that we are highlighting this race in particular between Becca Balint and Liam Madden, Becca Balint, the Democrat, and Liam Madden, the Republican, is that in this race, if Becca Balint wins this, she will be the first person ever elected to Vermont while being female. We have never had a woman elected either to the House or the Senate from the great state of Vermont. If Becca Balint wins this race,
that's shocking.
She will make history in that way in Vermont. Do we also have a characterization on the Vermont abortion race?
Please
we'll
characterize.
In just a moment. We have a call in a governor's race in Georgia. Incumbent Republican Brian Kemp is projected to be reelected as Georgia governor. Democrat Stacey Abrams was his challenger, but Brian Kemp will return to the governor's mansion in the great state of Georgia. And as I just mentioned just a moment ago, we're keeping an eye on some of these abortion measures around the country. Vermont is one of 3 states where voters were asked to enshrine reproductive rights, reproductive liberty in the state constitution. That has won in Vermont. The yes vote is a vote to enshrine abortion rights in the state constitution in Vermont. That measure has won in Vermont. Ooh, lots going on there. In terms of, I mean, at this point, the fast and furious nature of this is starting to feel slightly overwhelming, although I think we're getting a stronger sense of some of these contours.
Well, and you mentioned Josh Shapiro will give a victory speech. It'll be interesting to hear if he mentions a call from Doug Mastriano. He was one of the election deniers and MAGA candidates who had said he may not accept, he said he would not accept the results of the election. So usually the first thing that a victor says is, I got a nice call from my opponent. We'll be waiting to see if he says that.
Remember when the candidates used to wait
for them to call? Right.
It would be rude of me to give my victory speech if I haven't gotten my call.
Those were the days, huh?
Call yet.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, the voting will continue, but as promised, now that we have reached the 11 p.m. hour in the East, this will conclude my coverage. I do have a show to film tomorrow morning where we will analyze all of this, give an outlook, and prepare for what are going to be the next steps. I am cautiously optimistic about some of these things. We knew that the most likely outcome was that Democrats are going to lose the House. Steve Kornacki told us it's not even necessarily the case. We have to hope that the numbers in Arizona stay. I think by tomorrow we will have a sense of it. The most important thing I can say is Georgia Senate may be heading to a runoff because Herschel Walker and Raphael Warnock don't have 50%. But this race, Kelly Masters, this one could really humiliate these clowns. So let's hope the numbers stay that way. 2,146 new website members and Twitch subscribers over our week of 2022 election coverage. Thank you. Thank you. I can't believe the numbers that we got. And S-Prez right on the money, dumping in 100 more subscriptions, putting us at 2246. Folks, 2024 starts right now. That's why the code is 24 starts now. Thank you to all of you, and we will see you on the show tomorrow.